because we kind of left them in a little tiny bit of a cliffhanger last week. But before we get into things, I want to go around, make sure everyone introduces themselves. And one thing I want to quickly remind everyone about is the fact that Kobold still has their Kickstarter going on for the Deep Magic. They have hit the 173,000 mark. We're getting very, very, very close to opening up the next step, which is fantastic. And that is I was just looking at that, Sue. And that is one moment, please. I had to scroll. That's the Apocalypse Magic that's about to get unlocked. So if you want to get, 600 spells and then some, you have to check out this Kickstarter. It is absolutely fantastic and wonderful. I'm about to pop this into the chat for you as well. Do give it a look. It is a fantastic opportunity. And, I'm a Kobold girl. I love my Kobold stuff. So I highly encourage you to check it out and back it. So that is going to be it from me right now. So we can move on. I'm going to shift over to our darling and wonderful Michael.
Hello,
darling.
Michael. Anyway, my name is Michael Sinclair II. Found me on Twitter and Instagram, Michael Kritz. Today I'm playing Gervain, who is a carved wanderer human variant, and he is a ghost fighter out of the Heroes thing out of Kobold Prep.
Handbook or guidebook? I'm trying to remember which of the phrases.
Heroes of Midgard,
brain is.
I think.
There we go. Yes. Thank you. Brain is a little bit mushy. I've been living in Zobek a little bit too much today. All right. So from there, we're going to jump down to our wonderful Jim.
Hey, how's it going? I am, WebDM Jim. That's me. I'm on YouTube sometimes. And here on Sunday nights playing Slain, a Trollkin Gloomstalker who is recently come back from making a deal with Pumpkin Jack, and it only has to break into Grandma's house and get a candle back. I figure that's like a downtime. No big deal. Come on.
Totally fine. Not an issue at all.
Right, what could go wrong? But yes, excited to play and see. If I recall, there's some red-leafed shenanigans going on. Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, there's a something after you.
Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see what happens. And next up, we have. We'll let her get set up. Next up, we have our lovely Kai.
I am unmuted. I was like, I don't think I'm unmuted. I'll do this without messing up. I am Stonefly_Kai. I am playing Zira, who is a halfling sword dancer fighter. The last few episodes, she's turned into a little bit of a sassy prankster too, so that's been pretty fun to play, and I am excited for tonight.
Me too. And don't forget the pies. She likes her pies. Zira, you gotta be careful. Okay, next up we have
Zira and Kai like the pies.
Yes, all about the pies. Let's get those pies going. Everyone have a pie. Except don't ask Zira for it because she won't share. Now we have Jesse. You're next, my dear.
I'm next. My name is Jesse. I can be found on the internet as Jesse Neon, whether that's Twitch, Twitter, just about anything. And I will be playing Maurice, the Pantheist Priest Cleric, who is up to all of 6 domains at the moment, and has way too many spells for me to keep track of.
Because why not? The more the merrier, it's better. Get those lovely gods and goddesses behind you. I say go for it. Okay, and then exactly, it's no problem whatsoever. And last but not least, we have Torn Pixie.
Hi, I'm Torn Pixie. We're having a day over here. You can find me at Torn Pixie Twitch, on Twitter and Instagram at Torn Pixie, here on Twitch and TikTok. Hi. Hi. I will be playing Aol Galith, our Shadow Fey Warlock, who completely has things together way better than I do today.
We're good. Everything is fine. Everything is absolutely fine.
Good.
Everything's grand. So don't forget, with the channel now, you can subscribe. So make sure you do it if you haven't yet. hit that button. Let's go. Subscribe. And I am the Muse, your DM for this evening, aka the Crafting Muse. Now, does anyone want to give us our recap from last week and get your 2 temporary HP going for tonight's game? Anyone want to give it a whirl and get some bonus action in there?
I did it last week. Somebody else has to step up.
You playing the Nautic game?
Also, I've done it twice, maybe. So also
Done
not
it
it.
twice? Okay. Not it. I
can't even say my character introduction without screwing up, so I surely don't want to do this.
Okay, I mean, I'll do it.
Try.
I will do it again. I'm the note taker, so I'll just keep taking.
There's
these
no
points.
limit. I mean, you benefit from it. So if you want to do it, my darling, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
Go right ahead. Get those extra HP.
that's what I'm about to do. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay,
Sorry.
so. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the thing. Okay, so we were able to help the Illuminites last session. They were all tainted from some sort of curse that the forest is taking. We're still trying to figure out where the source of it is.
Yeah.
But through the help of Shreg and Gypsophilia, we were able to cure the ailment or the curse that they were coming up with, or they had within them.
Right.
Gypsophilia felt not lighthearted, but she felt lightheaded and kind of collapsed from casting her magic. We're figuring as a party that perhaps helping the forest through magical means via healing or kind of restoring some things produces a negative effect in the caster. We asked for the help of Faye, who is the daughter of Gypsophilia, to come with us to investigate the Druid Stones, which we think may be a step towards the right direction of curing the forest. There's more pie shenanigans. Zira stole a whole bunch of nice pie that was meant for the party. She lied and said that it was burnt and took them. And then we went from there. We finally went to the river and traveled down towards the Druid Stones. As things go in the Margreave and our party, the river was treacherous, and we almost, had some more near drowning. So we were able to beach successfully, and once we beached successfully, we had a rest session. We kind of some people had some heart-to-hearts. There were some interactions. I shared a pie with Zira. Zira and who was it? Slain investigate Maurice to see his living status or what kind of fun things they can do with his,
I like to investigate.
Yep. And then towards the end, Slain at the end of his watch walks off, and as he does, perhaps gets himself into some trouble. We don't know, but he meets a guy with a pumpkin head who is sitting on a stump, kind of a curious character, and said that he had the light inside of his head gone missing when he passed out somehow. And Slane agreed, by shaking hands with this Jack person, to help him out. And so we're going to figure out where it unfolds from here.
Yes, and you all regroup, and Slane, being Slane, didn't exactly mention this whole deal that he's made with Pumpkin Jack. Because, Slane kind of reveals it as needed. We're finding out. And, yeah, it's Slane. Slane just does what Slane does. And we left you all with these bushes seeming to come out of the edge of the forest, encroaching upon you. And these are brightly colored, blood red leafed bushes. And what would you like to do, seeing these three just breaking through and coming upon your nice morning wake up?
Well, you said last time that they don't look like peaceful at all, right? Like they're coming out with like these menacing branches and white.
They have these red thorns sticking out and these blood red leaves, and there are some white flowers on them and also some hard stone fruit type things on them as well. And you'll also notice that while there is some fog that is dissipating because of the river water, These seem to have not fog, but one would say smoke rising from their leaves as well.
Oh, that's a no.
Okay. All right. So Slane
Somebody
would
should
just
dunk them in the
shout
water.
out. Slane will draw his hatchet, and he'll just shout out, "Remember, we're not supposed to use fire!" And then he starts running at the.
I'm gonna throw a dagger at one of them if they're close
So
enough.
since we have some action starting up, let's roll for initiative, people.
All right.
Sweet.
Right out of the
damn it.
gate.
I'll grab my dice too. I'm just forgetting all the things today.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey, you need your dice to play.
I'll take that 18 for initiative.
Yeah,
Hey,
12 is good. Right back.
All right, so Maurice, you said you just got an 18?
Correct.
And Gervain was a 12.
22.
Same for Slane, 22.
Okay, we have a lovely trend because Faye also got a 22. Faye has a +3 to her dex. What about you, Zira? You're muted, my dear.
+3. 3.
+3. Slane? 3?
Big 3, big +3, yep.
Okay, so who wants to go first in this? I'll put Faye at the end of the two of you. Out of you two, who wants to go?
Slane can
First
go
then.
first. I think he would get there before me.
Okay,
He's
so
got that
Slane,
stride.
0, Faye.
I got that. I got them short legs.
Them short little legs. And then AOL, what does she have for her initiative?
24.
24! Ooh, look at that. All right, so AOL is going to be leading the pack with that one. And we're going to say that Shrek sees these bushes and pretty much eats himself into the back of Slane's papoose and even goes to the extent of pulling sort of like this little bit of excess material to your tunic, Slane, and like covering himself completely. And basically you just kind of feel him shaking again. So then we're going to have order is AOL, Slane, Zira, Faye, Maurice, and then we have Gervain, and then we have the 3 angry bushes.
Yeah,
Those are our marching orders.
let's do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I slow myself down a wee bit? AOL, Slane, Zira, Faye, Maurice, Gervain, bushes. So AOL, you see these 3, and they're actually close together. They're clustered together. It's not that they've spread themselves out. So they're all within 5 feet of each other. So they're probably taking about 15 feet overall in this one little area, and they're coming in from the back. So it's not next to the river. It's from the woods themselves. What would you like to do seeing them smoking and blood red leafed with these big angry thorns?
Oh, I wish I had a water wall right now. That's not for a while, I don't think.
Yeah.
Smoking a
Oh,
flame?
Just smoking.
Smoking.
No flames, but smoking.
And how far out again?
Together, they're about 15 feet across. They're probably about 20 feet away from where you're all standing.
How tall are they?
I'm gonna do the great big dumb for the class, right? I'm gonna
Okay.
step closer.
They're about
10
the
feet
size of a
closer.
human height-wise.
Yeah.
You're
And
gonna what?
cast prestidigitation.
Prestidigitation.
To see if I can do something about the smoke to like a water effect. See if I can like make water happen so that they stop smoking.
Now, keep in mind, it's the effect of water. It's not actually water that's happening. So you can do this, but you're going to see that really not too much shifts with
So
them.
I don't think it does actual water, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't do the actual effect of water. So you can see it's not doing much of anything, quite frankly. Even though you have tried to.
Yeah, because the idea was maybe I can treat them like a candle and snuff it out. Was the thought.
No, definitely they are not snuffed out. In fact, the branches are sort of shaking a little bit, and they have yet to advance because it's not their turn. But that takes us now to Sling.
Face kind of like, oops, that didn't work.
He is going to bound over to where they are and have his axe out, and then his other hand, he's going to claw them.
Okay.
We'll see how this goes. Well, yeah, I don't know. How big are the thorns?
Let's say the thorns are about the length of a human man's finger. Because they're about the height of a human. Yeah, so.
You only live
I
once,
have
right?
small hands. I'm not good for reference.
I got a 17 with my axe and a 15 with the claws.
Okay, both will hit. So which of the bushes are you going to hit? The one to the right, the middle, or the left?
We'll start with the left.
The left. Okay.
Yeah.
So your axe and your claw both fall true on it.
Let's do it. Oh, yes. Here we go. So axe is going to be, that's going to be 10, and then claw is 8 for 18 slashing total. 10 of that is magical.
Okay. Wonderful. Nicely done. So you see, as you are hacking and slashing at this bush, some of the leaves are starting to fall off right away from your sweeping motion of your axe, as well as from your claws. And it's not looking quite as good as it did when it first jumped out with its brethren, but it's still standing.
Do you have any idea what these are? Being proficient in nature and being from around here? They're clearly not friendly, but
they are not friendly at this point, obviously. If you want to do
maybe I'll give it a
check,
think afterwards.
A think afterwards. You can think about it later. I would not recommend doing it now and using your action to try and figure out what they are as you're standing right in front of them. Let's put it that way.
I'm not. I'll do it that way. I'll do it later.
Not the best of approaches.
I'm done then.
Okay, so Zira, it is your turn now.
How tall are they?
They are the height of a male human.
Okay.
So roughly 6 feet, let's say.
Okay. So I would like to take an attack with my sword, and I will aim at the base of it to try to get it to its feet, and then I'll use a special ability to do a trit attack too. So it says when you hit a weapon attack, you can expend 1 purity die to add the total of damage, and it has to make a strength saving throw of DC.
Okay, so which one are you going to go for?
The middle
12
one.
will miss. The middle one. Okay,
Well,
so
no,
you go
12
to aim.
plus.
Keep going.
It would be. Sorry. I didn't have it pulled up. 19.
Oh, you absolutely are going to hit the middle.
Is that right? No, that's not right. Sorry, I can't math. 15.
15's still good. 15 will still hit.
Okay, so sorry.
It's the math thing on a Sunday night.
I swear, yeah.
We're still in bear mode.
Yeah, I'm I didn't have to do math last night. 12 points of damage.
12 points of damage. Okay, beautiful.
And then you have to make a strength saving throw of 13.
Strength saving throw of 13. That's not the one I want to use for that. Does not succeed at all.
So it is prone.
It is prone. Okay, great. So we have middle bush is now prone for those of you who are coming up and along after this. And then, hi, kitty. Sorry, the cat just licked my ankle. So that moves us now to Faye. So Faye, seeing all of you starting to take action, she is going to quickly pull out her short sword, and she's going to advance upon the one to the right and go in for an attack. And unfortunately, she swings wild and misses it, and basically her sword sort of skims along the edge of the bush, but it does not hit. And now that takes us to Maurice.
It is my turn. How far away from how far away from me are they?
About 20 feet.
About 20 feet, okay. What I would like to do is go up and around behind them, and hit Word of Radiance and attempt to just blast all 3 of them.
Okay, so
each
how
creature
much,
of my choice will need to do a con save or take 1d6 radiant damage.
Time out in terms of yours, how far can you travel, though, if you're going to try and work your way around them?
I can travel a full 30 feet, so if they're only 20 feet away from me, I'm hoping I can just maneuver in such a way that I can hit all 3 of them. And it is of my choice, so I should be able to not blast my friends. Hopefully.
Okay, great. So with the 20 feet, you will be able to sort of skirt around, but that's going to put you easily about 5 feet away from them, just so you're aware of that.
That's okay. I like the danger zone.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, you are in the danger zone. You're going to cast, so go for it, and then re-explain what we're doing with them.
All right,
So we
so
need to
give
do
me con saves for each of them.
For each of them, you're getting greedy.
Please.
That means I need 2 more of these. All right, taking 3 of my d20s. And it was con, so this is pure.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have a 13, a 15, and a 4.
The 15 will pass, the rest will fail.
Okay, so you see the middle bush and the right bush are the ones that you hit.
Whew. So one of them is going to take 1 damage, and one of them will take 5 damage.
Okay, is there one you prefer to take over the other?
The one that's slain, hacked, and slashed.
The one that slain, hacked, and slashed was the one who was immune to it.
Oh, shoot. Then the one
So
that's
you
0
have
went
the one
after.
who's prone. Okay, so the one
That
who's
one.
prone, you want to take the one? The one, yes?
Please.
And the other will take the 5.
Zero's got that
Okay,
in-
great.
In hand.
Lovely. Okay,
And
so
that will be my turn.
wonderful. Fantastic. And now, Gervain, it is your turn.
Okay, I'm gonna go up with Little Czar to the one that is prone currently,
Okay.
right next to Zira, and I'm gonna jump off Czar because obviously if I'm gonna hit something prone, I probably can't do it on top of Czar. So I'm gonna go and strike it, kind of like the Asian spear style of raising a foot up and jutting out with my spear right in front of me.
Okay.
So is that going to be an advantage because he's prone currently? Or
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, because you're not throwing the spear, you're going to jab with it, correct?
The Stilled Heart Spear. So that is
Yeah, so
going
yeah.
to be. It's going to be 24 to hit.
Yeah.
This is my first time using it. I'm so happy. Okay. So 1d6 plus 3, that's 4 physical and 3 necrotic. And
Okay.
then I
So,
don't think I have an
you said it
extra.
was 4 for the physical aspect?
Yep.
Okay, so you notice as you stab it with the spear, it does take on damage. It's not as much as you had hoped it would. However, how much was the necrotic?
3.
You do see that the necrotic holds true, and it does start to do some damage to this. Again, this bush is also not looking too great. In fact, it's quite similar to its friend on the left. And it is still prone on the ground. And that leaves anything else you'd like to do? Would you like Little Czar?
Yeah, and then fighters don't have an extra attack yet, I think. I think that's another level. So I will have Czar attack with his 2 attacks.
Do you want him to
Not
attack the
using-
same bush, or do you want him to attack the one to the right or the left?
The same one. He's attacking with me, so I'm gonna do 1 bite, 1 claw. Oh, that's cocked. Okay, so 18 to bite,
Hits.
and then 4 for piercing damage. And
Okay,
then-
so once again, you see that piercing damage doesn't quite do as much as you had hoped, but there is still some damage done.
then 15 for his claw,
15 will hit for the claw.
and 7 slashing damage.
All right, so as his claw slashes across this bush, there is a flurry of leaves that come flying off of it, and it is still in its prone position, and it is looking weakened, and the smoke is not billowing as much from its leaves. It's actually not as quite of a bright blood red as it has been before. So you guys definitely did some damage to this one in the middle. And if that's everything for you, Michael, for Gervain, we're going to jump over to these bushes. So the one is going to get up, so it is no longer prone, but that is about all it can manage to do right now. The one on the left, Slain, it is going to go towards you, and you see one of these branches start to come towards you.
Mhm.
And you see these long, sharp thorns heading your way with the smoke increasing,
AC
and
16.
does a 13 hit then. So that's a null.
No.
That's a nope. So this branch tries to swing at you, but it misses you because you are very much aware as to what's going on, and you have the upper hand, so you're able to dodge out of the way quickly, no problem whatsoever. And then that leaves us to the one with the right. It is going to try and attack Faye, since she was the one to try and attack it first. And it, too, will also miss, although it seemed a little bit more eager and energetic than the other two of them. And that brings us back up to the top with AOL.
Alright, so having seen that the prestidigitation idea is not gonna work, Heir's gonna go ahead and cast Cloying Darkness.
Cast the what again?
Cloying Darkness
Ah.
at level... What can I do that at? Okay, let's not blow that one slot. Level 2.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, so it does not hit, though, it looks like.
No!
Correct? With an 8? Yeah. So you attempt to do this spell. What does it look like as you cast it, and then what does it look like as it dissipates before it can actually do its damage?
So she reaches out with her hand, and it looks kind of decayed a bit and shadowy, and it kind of supernaturally extends from her arm to swipe at the nearest target there. So out of the 3, the nearest one.
Okay. All right. So you attempt to do this, and it's looking like it's almost about to happen. However, for some reason, you don't know, maybe the Margreave just sort of did its thing, and the spell just doesn't take as you had hoped. And the bushes are still standing upright and totally fine. Slain, is there anything else you'd like to do before I move on to Slain? Is that all you got going?
That's it. I think I'm gonna back up out of range since I was at 10 feet away.
Okay. All right. So then you're not in range of attack, so you're fine with backing up. And then we're going to move it over to Slain. How this bush with its burning, not its burning, but its smoking branches with its sharp red thorns try and swing at you. What would you like to do?
I'm going to continue to slash away at it. These sort of smoke, it's not unlike the Aleumites, yeah? They had a kind of similar red eyes and
the red glowing eyes. Yes, they're very similar color to those red leaves. That is a good question.
All right, so 15 with my axe to hit.
That'll hit.
And probably not with my claws. 9 to hit with my claws.
Not with the claws, but you do get the axe with its slashing damage.
Ooh, that is max damage for 11.
Beautiful. All right, so you're basically starting to trim the bush. You see more of these branches falling to its side, and the leaves are starting to fall off. And again, its coloring is dropping. It's not a vivid blood red. It's more of like the color of blood as it started to dry after a few hours. And again, the smoke isn't billowing as strongly as it had been before. So you've definitely weakened this bush, and it's not looking too great. Zira, we are back to you. You're at that middle bush. It is no longer prone, but it is not looking great at all.
I want to try to just hack at the base of it again, just like take it off kind of down near the base, and it would be 18.
Which will hit?
And then, oh, my goodness, 8.
8. Okay, so 8 slashing happens against this, and once again, this bush, you see more and more of its branches are falling. The leaves have actually gone from this bright red to the mid-tone dullish red to it almost like that deep maroon of a very dull, almost blackened red. And the smoke has all but stopped except for wisping off of a few precious branches that are left on this middle bush. Is there anything else you'd like to do?
Nope, that's it.
Nope, that's all. Okay, then we're taking it over to Faye, and she is absolutely going to try yet again to go after this thing because it did try to go after her. So taking her short sword, she is going to take this long reaching arc. Oh, lovely. And she does manage to hit. So she is going to do 2. Oh, full. Nice. So she's going to be doing 9 slashing to this bush that is on the right. And that bush has only been damaged slightly. So it's still a little bit stronger. It still has that coloring going. And after she hits it, you do see that it is still upright, but more of its leaves are down around it, and the smoke is still billowing, though not as strong. That takes us to Maurice.
Okay, so all three of them are still alive as far as we can tell.
Yep. Still up.
Yeah. This situation seems like it's pretty well in hand. Maurice is pretty confident that his friends are going to hack these things to bits, so he's just going to charge up another word of radiance and just shoot out another wave of white hot holy light. So let's see some more con saves from these guys.
Okay, let me get out the... Okay, so I have the one on the left has a 6.
Okay.
The one on the right got a 4, and the one in the middle got a 15.
Okay, so the one in the middle is going to save. The one on the right is going to take 1 damage. Wow.
1.
And the one on the left is going to take 4 damage.
The one on the left takes 4. Okay, that is lovely. And the one on the right took 1. The one on the left that has been battling against Slain, you see that it is like its middle partner. It too has also faded into this more very dull maroonish red. There's barely any smoke wisping off of what few branches are left. And it's swaying, and there is no breeze occurring right now in the Margreave, because you can tell the other natural forestry around you. There's no other leaves blowing in the wind. The other trees are pretty much stable and standing alone. So that is everything for your turn,
Matt Mercer
Maurice?
hair effect.
Yes,
yep, that'll be it.
Okay. Gervain, we are to you.
Muted. So, the ones that are... Is that one that's prone still alive, or is that one dead?
It's not prone. It stood up. It is still alive, but it does not look good at all. There are many leaves and branches around its base. You can see that it is swaying, and it is not because of a breeze in the air. Its color has dropped drastically, and there's barely any smoke that is coming from its branches any further.
I will attack that one.
Okay.
That's a natural 1.
It's a 1?
Yeah.
Okay, roll again, and let's just make sure you didn't lose your spear in process.
That is going to be 16.
You're fine. So you missed, but you managed to keep spear in hand.
Okay.
Now, what about little Zar?
Yeah, he's going to attack now. Oh, boy. Okay. So that is going to be 21 for his bite.
That will hit.
And 8 for the piercing damage for his bite. And then his claw attack is going to be 15.
Which will hit.
Alright. And 5 slashing damage for his claw.
Okay, so what does it look like as little Zar takes down the middle bush?
He's going to kind of clamp it where he thinks the neck or the main vine is. And, like shake it back and forth. And as he does that, he's going to grab his paw right next to his mouth and slash down and break it in half.
Okay, lovely. So we see the shuddering off of splinters and branches and these leaves just fraying as little Zar's claws and paw push this apart. And what was this bush is now just sitting as a pile of kindling. And you still have the other 2 bushes, one to the left and one to the right. The right one is looking a little bit healthier than the other one that is still on the left. So that now takes us to our 2 bushes. So the one on the left that Slain you have been battling is once again going to try and take a swing at you. And
Is
does
5 feet close to me?
Yeah, he would absolutely be.
I'm gonna use my reaction to give it disadvantage to make sure it doesn't hit Slain.
Okay. So all right, Slain, so does a 17 hit?
17 hits. I like that teamwork.
Okay, so it rolled well both times. So with its 17, you're going to be taking on 4 points slashing, but on top of that, you take on 5 fire damage from this bush's branch that comes swinging at you, and it's taking everything it has at this moment. You see all of the smoke that's been billowing, what was left of it, all gets concentrated into this one branch, and as it comes swinging towards you, it's almost as if this torch is almost coming at you, but without the flame. It's just the smoke. And you take on that damage.
Slain screams like a child.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. Fire!
Fire! Smoky fire! Okay, now the one on the right, once again, is going to try and attack Faye. However, it is going to, luckily for her, miss and not make contact. You see it do something similar. You see that it has a lot of the smoke geared up in the one branch as it starts swinging towards Faye. However, her agility comes in handy and she dodges right out of the way. It narrowly misses her though, sort of skimming across the front of her antler area, but she is unharmed. Well, we are back at the top with you now.
So that didn't work. Just gonna collect themselves and is that the one I want? I think that's the one I want. Yeah, I like that. And we're gonna go ahead and cast Dark Bolt with that. It wants a level.
Okay.
Though. It wants a level.
Okay. Which one are you aiming toward?
The one on the right.
Okay. All right, so it has to be ranged spell attack?
It's ranged. Actually, it's at both of them because I can do 3 or more targets in range.
Okay, great. So let's see if you hit them. We'll do one roll for the two of them.
Yep.
Because for some reason it didn't pop up.
That's a 17. That's 5. That's 22. If I'm doing my math right.
Okay, both.
Yeah.
It will hit both without issue. So what does this look like as you go and you start your spell up? Your Dark Bolt.
And we'll put Fair Hand out, and a really, really dark cloud starts forming around it, and then kind of like the lightning you had seen previously with the Eldritch Blast. Only it's 3 of them that hit these 2 little bushes.
Okay, so how do you want to divide this up? Do you want to do how many rays to each one is what I'm asking.
2 right, 1 left.
Okay, so let's see what we get damage wise then. First for the right.
All right. 14.
14 to the right. Is that for both of the rays?
Yes. Well, total.
Okay. All right. Total. Okay. Okay. So 14 to the right, which is lovely. And then how much goes to the one on the left that is swaying in front of Slain?
4.
4. Okay. Still. So as these bolts hit both of the bushes, you see the one to the right, it's definitely starting to not look good any longer. It too has these leaves fading down to a darkish maroon tone, and the smoke is no longer billowing as strongly as before. Many of its branches are sitting around its base. The one that is in front of Slain, you've hit it true, and you see that it is splintering and falling apart, and there are barely a few branches left upon it, which there is smoke coming from a few leaves left upon each branch. Takes us to that was English. That takes us now to Slain.
If Slain was a barbarian, he would be recklessly attacking. Instead, he's just reckless and attacking. So, my first attack is 22 to hit, and then a 20 for my second attack.
It's okay, so both are going to hit.
That's going to be... I rolled max last time. I think I rolled minimum this time. 6 plus 6, so 12 slashing.
12 slashing. Okay, so Slain, what does it look like as you pretty much shred this bush in front of you?
All right, yeah. So he goes in with that maple leafed axe and just takes a page out of Zira's book, goes for the trunk down at the bottom, and then he's gonna like grab it and tear it in half and like throw it and scream. And he's never like been burned before. All he knows is all the he's trollish ancestry, and so he thinks he's about to like become a pile of ash or something. I guess he's kind of freaking out.
Excellent. So our ranger almost takes a barbarian-esque reaction to the damage he received, and this bush is essentially shredded and torn and broken apart, and now lies lifeless and dead at your feet, Slain. Zira, that now takes us to you. The only bush we have upright is the one to the right. That is still going, but it is not looking too fantastic.
I'm going to take another sword attack at it, and I want to go right down the middle of it so I can maybe like try to split it in half. And that was a 13.
A 13 will actually miss. So in your attempt to try and get at this bush, seeing its companions not looking so great, it actually is on more of an alert, and it is able to, for a bush, move rather quickly out of the swing of your sword.
That shifty bush.
That shifty bush. Gotta watch out for those shifty bushes. So, that takes us to Faye. She too is going to... Hold on, I have to toggle to get to hers. That was not what I wanted to do. So she is also going to go after... Where did it go? Hold on, I've lost something. I lost something precious to me. So Faye is also going to go to attack. Open up. There we go. With her short sword at this last bush, and she is able to hit, and she will do 4 point slashing upon the bush. So she is able to hack off a couple branches in process. It is still standing up, but it definitely does not look good. In fact, you're seeing the smoke reduce a little bit more as a result, Maurice, now that it is up at your turn.
Well, it's feeling that there's pretty much just a straight line of what to do. He's just going to toll the dead on this thing. I assume it has ears. I don't know. I assume it can hear a toll the dead.
It can.
So that would.
It can hear. It doesn't have ears per se.
Per se, yeah, okay. A wisdom save or 1d12 necrotic because it has taken damage already.
Ooh, okay, so a wisdom save, let's see. And it gets an 8.
Okay, so 1d12, 7 necrotic damage.
So tell us, Maurice, how you just perfectly kill off this last bush with your Toll the Dead.
Maurice is not especially sure what's going on with these trees, plants, things. Like, they're very alien to him anyway as a mechanical being, but he's just gonna kind of point at it and be like, "You little tree, you need to lay down and go for your final nap now. That is all." And then something inside of his body is going to like click and hit like a bell gong, and then like a wave of almost visible sound is going to emit from him and just blow necrotic energy through this thing.
All right, and as this happens, you see it pretty much, it collapses to the ground. Any type of fight or form left to it is completely gone, and it too, like its fellow 2 other bushes, sits as a pile of broken branches, shedded leaves, and splinters. And you are now out of combat. What would you like to do?
I guess we continue on to the druid circle, right?
Yeah, well, we haven't even had breakfast yet. Right?
No,
like,
you
maybe
haven't.
Almost.
Yeah.
I would like to take a look at the romance.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so
same,
Maurice
same.
wants to look at... Okay, so Maurice and Slain, why don't you do either nature or investigation, whichever of those is better for you.
Oof. This is going to be all Slain. I can feel it already.
I get yeah, okay. I'll do I'll roll nature, just sort of I mean, lots of things walk around here, but this 18.
12
Okay,
on investigation.
12 on investigation. So, Maurice, you are able to at least determine that whatever these were, this isn't exactly a common plant in the Margreave. This has come about for some other reason. Most likely, it's come through and made its way into the Margreave. Slain, for you, you know for sure, these are definitely not plants native to the Margreave whatsoever. However, you do remember the grandmothers talking about these plants. There's something that does have a mind of its own, and they are sentient bushes. However, they're normally the lowest on the totem pole for sentient plant life. They are the ones first sent out to do the dirty work, see if they can act as the first line of defense before anything else gets further in the way of things. And they are very much guided by those that are evil, those who perform evil acts. They will do whatever their bidding is in hopes of either being protected or work in cahoots type of situation. So these particular bushes, you remember one of your grandmothers calling them the execrable shrub. And they are a little bit carnivorous. They like their meat and such. And yeah, they're not exactly normal to this area, though. In fact, you never thought you'd see one.
Yeah. Are they from like not around here, as in a transplanar invasive species, or just like from over the mountains?
They're more from outside of the Margreave proper.
Gotcha.
So they can be. Right. They can be found in Midgard, just not normally.
All right, I gotcha. For a second, I was like,
a little further north. You've heard of them a little bit.
Alien vegetable.
Yeah, you've heard of them. Yeah. Sort of like further north.
Do you know
they'll be found more
if
easily.
they have any magical properties? Is there anything we can do with the romance?
I
Nothing.
mean,
You can use them for kindling.
Kindling, I suppose. I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't even think you'd want to use them for any kind of alchemical fire or anything. I just maybe we just set fires with them later. But
at best, they have those sharp thorns on them still, but there's not much that can be done beyond that.
Okay.
I guess I'll grab one or two of them just to use for fire. I mean, I have metal for skin. I'm not super worried about getting scratched.
Okay.
Plus, I'm sure the Margrave would appreciate us not chopping down other trees for fire later. So.
Sure. So if you want to just sort of gather some of the kindling and everything like that that's left from it, do you keep the thorns? Do you break the thorns off, or?
I'll keep them on there. Okay. I don't have any particular reason to break them off. Not that I can think of anyway, but I'll keep them on there for now.
All right, so then just make sure you put in your pack that you have a bundle of kindling. That'll get a fire started. One single round of a fire.
So, I don't really know much about these, but they are, I think, sort of wicked people sort of use them as like thugs or brutes. I mean, maybe we could track them back if someone's onto us. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get us off course, though. Now, Slane seems really, like keeps staring in the direction they came from, see if he can sort of like, is there something out there kind of moment.
Okay. Do you want to go investigate, or what would you like to do, Slane?
Slane is fishing for, if he just wanders off, if he's like, he doesn't want to just leave everybody, or go like in the opposite direction that we said we were going to, but he's become kind of paranoid and like, these things aren't supposed to be from here. They have a reputation for being used as sort of, like throwaway weapons, I guess. And he's curious if they came somewhere.
Okay.
Not
so. If you wanted to look in the hedge line of the forest, by all means, you can do an investigation check to see if you can see any sort of egress or path that they created.
Yeah, he's gonna do that.
Okay. All right.
I'll go poke around. Let's see. Is that you want me survival or investigation for that?
I'll leave that up to you. Whichever works better in your favor.
He's definitely looking for tracks, and in this case, because they are not a native plant species, he's looking for just any evidence, leaves that they might have dropped. If their vine feet look, a certain way, and that would make it a 14.
14. All right, with a 14, you can easily see. They definitely all came from the same direction. It's actually downriver from the direction where you would be heading towards the dead druid run that's in the river itself. You see that there are a couple little, red leaf scattered here and there, and there's this very clear pattern of their shuffling up through this pathway that must be used by the wildlife in this area of the forest. You'll also notice, though, that this seems to be the only most recent tracks made. There haven't been any tracks made other than those coming up from that direction.
Well, at the very least, I don't know, maybe we got our enemies and our goal in front of us, so we don't have to split our attention, as it were. But maybe we should keep our eyes out for anything stranger than what we've seen.
And you'll see that Faye, sort of with her one hoof, she's nudging the one that's a pile in front of her. I have never seen these here before, ever. Nor near the grove. These are very strange creatures to come about.
Yeah.
What do you think may have brought them here?
Well, perhaps it's going along with whatever else is affecting the forest lately. I mean, everything seems to be red or blood-related. That is what is concerning to me.
Yet more allusions to the vampirism. Very confusing.
And I'm not the only one thinking that. We should get down to the run and see if we can find anything amongst the stones.
Absolument. Je suis un concordance.
Oui. I don't know about the rest of you. Do you want to try to take this by foot? Do you want to get back into the canoes and make our way down to the stones themselves? Well, you do have that lovely talent of... Yes,
If we get in the canoes, I don't want to be in the same one as Slane if he's driving it.
we can absolutely change our deal.
On
Yes,
that,
AOL.
how far
Still only a
are
5.
the druid stones from the shore when we get there?
If you're thinking about using your Misty Step, you are within range.
Misty Step's shorter than the other thing. No. I can do something that can get everyone over.
Ooh, intriguing!
I can make a path, and anything under 500 feet, 500 pounds will actually be able to walk across that path.
Okay. So is it something you share with the party here at the clearing where you've just gotten up from the morning
Yeah.
and had your morning encounter?
Yeah.
Okay, so AOL explains that she has a means to get you all over to those stones to give them a closer investigation. What would you like to do with this newfound knowledge?
500 pounds, you say, that is a firm limit? You see, I'm what they call a hefty boy. I weigh 480 pounds, not including my gear. Perhaps I could give some of my things to some of you to carry across with you?
Well, perhaps you could... Well, if we cannot all go across, then perhaps some of us can stay on the edge of the river and keep an eye out while the rest of you go to investigate.
Yeah, that'd work too.
I mean, it is
can we
at one
swim?
time. I tried swimming, remember?
The path is probably the safest way to get to the stones at this point, would be my guess, considering how the rate of the stream has picked up, the current. So if this is something you wish to do, AOL, I am all for supporting you however it is possible. If we cannot all go across, perhaps we need to determine who should go across with you to investigate these stones a little bit closer. Maurice, you are obviously, I guess it would be a solo act if you were to go across. Unless you'd want to take Shred. And she'd be looking, Slane, she's looking in the back where your papoose is, where Shreg is still kind of hiding, and Shreg's kind of like peeked out their nose and their eyes.
I think I'm just gonna stay here and Slane and the papoose. I think I'm better off here. I'll pipe up if I can help you guys out.
And then they pull the piece of tunic back over, and you just have this little trembling thing in the back of the papoose.
Oh, it'll be all right, little buddy. Just sleep it off.
You just hear this muffling.
Yeah, they're just a little scared. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Well,
I can go with you.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry, Braden.
All right, so we're going to have the path crew and we're going to have the riverside crew. Let's call it this way. So riverside, we're keeping Maurice on the riverside. Since Maurice would...
I think that's smartest. I mean, like, out of character. Like, I would take up the bulk of that weight single-handedly. I think it makes the most sense.
Okay. And then AOL, you'd want to go across to the stones, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we have AOL on the path. Gervain, would he want to go with AOL or would he want to stay along the riverside?
I'm going to go with Emil, and I'm going to kind of stroke Zar's head real quick and tell him to stay here with Maurice and Shrek.
Okay. All right. So so then we have Little Zar. I was not expecting to put his initials in there. Little Zar. He's going to go and stay on the riverside. What about you, Zira? Would you want to stay or would you go?
If Zar lays down, I'm just gonna cuddle on back into him like a couch and stretch out and sit on the riverside with Maurice.
Okay. So Zira's staying riverside. Slain.
Are we able to see the stones from the side of the river?
You are going to need to take the canoes down a little bit further to get to the stones to stay on the riverside. So you're not setting up, you're not establishing yourselves quite yet, but you are determining who's going to stay where before you make your way down.
When we do that,
I'm just trying to figure out for range sake.
No, it makes sense. Range sake, range sake. There's the words I want. You'd be within 30 feet of the first stone, and the other stone would be 50 feet. Type of situation.
I can work with that.
Okay.
Slain, I think you should come with us.
Oh yeah, definitely. I gotta see these stones because I gotta check them out.
Okay. All right, and then Faye will kind of look between all of you. Which would you prefer? Would you prefer that I go with the group, or would you rather I stay on the side of the river?
I think the group, because you're knowledgeable in the forest and magic, right?
Well, yes,
So,
of course.
I was the only one who knows what they are supposed to be and how to use them.
All right, I will go with you then. I'll go across on this path of yours, AOL. So then you have the four, AOL, Gervain, Slain, and Faye will go across. And then the others, they will stay. So we have Maurice, Little Zar, and Zira. Okay. So you will get in your canoes, and it's not that far. I'm not going to have you do any rolls because it's pretty much, you're within the line of sight. You can see it down the river in terms of just the start of it, but you can't physically see everything. So you'll take your canoes down and you'll bank a little bit of ways away, enough where you're not getting pulled into those stronger currents that have been going through those stones recently. So you're able to get the canoes up along the riverside bank and basically walk down a little bit towards the stones. How far, do you want to get directly across the way? Do you want to be a little bit further down? How do you want to angle this?
Okay. Probably directly across to make sure the path is as short as possible, because the range is it's only 50 feet long. It's 10 feet wide and 50 feet long.
And then you would definitely want to get directly across from these stones. So you walk your way down. It takes maybe 10 minutes tops from where you've banked your canoes further upriver. And you have those who are staying by the riverside. Basically, you can take your positions as AOL. You get yourself ready to create this path.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just read something in the chat. No taking strange babies and putting them into your papoose, please. All right, so tell us, AOL, how does this look as you start creating this path of yours?
So AOL's going to start chanting. What were your languages again? We're going to use a different one from what's usually used, because usually Umbral. Yeah, they're going to start speaking in Umbral and just kind of doing some hand movements. And we'll have dropped a lodestone on the ground as well to create this path across, and it starts forming. It starts kind of smoky, just kind of solidifies. It's really dark, and you can kind of see through it. Yeah, there's definitely a path there.
Okay, now keep in mind, this is a bridge that'll last for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what you try to investigate, make sure you're quick about it. So this in mind, those of you going across on this path, you make your way to the center area of these stones. It's a cluster of 5 stones, so they're all standing up. Think about sort of like Stonehenge, except they're closer together and they're monoliths. There's no cross stones or anything like that. And they all have sort of this eerie, almost human-like form to them. Like you can see, there's sort of a head and it dips in, and then you'd have shoulders that sort of taper down to a waist, and then it flares back out to hips. And then the rest goes into the water. So...
Quick question.
Well, yes, Slane. Mm-hmm.
So while Eolith is getting this shadow bridge set up for us, is there a way to set up just like a rope that we could take with us that, say, Maurice ties to his ankle, and we have so at the very least we've got something on either side of the riverbank?
So sort of like
there'll be a pretty
line.
strong rope, my friend.
Yeah,
Right.
You can
It's like
definitely
50 feet,
sort of, you have a rope that's 50 feet long. Yep. And the bridge itself, if the bridge is 50 feet overall, you probably have about, about 20 extra feet to play around with if you want to use that for tying around waist, that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. I think what I'd just like to do is like have them anchored to something right now, like whether someone holds it on the far side and then we bring it like a spike or something and stick it in the ground, but it's just to have something on our side to bring us help.
All right, back. So you sort of have a tether going on. So yeah, we can have it, sort of backstory played out where before Ael cast her path, you sort of got the safety system going, set up so that you're all attached to this line, and Maurice it is then attached to, maybe not directly to Maurice per se, maybe there's a nice sturdier rock or something along the edge, but Maurice can stand on the rope or hold the rope, but I wouldn't recommend tying it.
He's a bit rusty.
So, yeah, he's had some rust issues already, as it is. So, now that you're all tethered, those of you on the shoreline, I would like you all to give me a perception. And those of you who are in the path in between the stones, I'd like you to give me an arcana or an investigation.
8.
Okay, so Zira, you're just enjoying lounging against little Czar.
That's a big old 20 on Maurice's perception.
Hey, very nice. So, Maurice, as you're looking, you do see that the current seems to have picked up even from the last time you were there. And it's extremely frothy, and you see more of the mist kicking up than there had been before. You can still see the stones, but the bases of the stones are definitely blurred out from your angle. You can't see much more as to what's going on. And we do have the path visible to everyone, correct, Aoel? Yes?
Yes.
So you can see Aoel's path, and you can see your companions making their way across as they go into investigate. So then for those of you who are on the path, what did you get for your either investigation or your arcana?
8 for investigation.
Okay, so Gervain, you're sort of standing there just looking to see if you can catch anything, but you're sort of picking up on the fact that you are in the middle of these stones, your time's limited, and it's also kind of set you into like a slight panic mode. So you're not able to focus on more than just seeing the frothy foam and seeing this mist rising up towards you and the fact that there are these 5 stones. Slane, what did you get?
I got a 16 for investigation.
Okay, and Aoel, what did you get?
15 arcana.
15 for arcana, and then Faye got a 17. So between Slane, Aoel, and Faye working together, you're quickly taking this in because you know your time is limited. You two take in the fact that the stream has picked up greatly, and you also notice it seems to be stemming from one of the stones, as opposed to all of them. It seems the water is drawn to that stone more intensely and working around this stone. And it is then that you notice that this particular stone, it wasn't just a crack, but it almost seems to be broken. So there's this sort of opening to it. And it's this opening that's creating this extra pull in the water, which is creating this stronger frothing and this more misting factor. And you see that the other 4 stones, none of them show any signs of any further cracking or any type of holes. It seems that just this one solitary stone has been somehow compromised. And the interesting thing is that normally these types of monoliths should be solid bits of stone. However, this is not the case. It's almost as if the stone was encapsulating something, and it is now emptied. It's a hollow cocoon with an opening at its base.
The water's pouring into?
The water's pouring into and sort of swirling around almost like a whirlpool and then shuttling itself back out.
Well, which one of y'all wants to go down that thing?
I mean, I guess I'll go. I feel.
I was gonna say we don't let.
You have 30 seconds left.
I'm going now, and so I'm just gonna try and get to whatever Slane just pointed out.
So you're gonna jump into the water? Because this is in the water.
No.
This is underneath.
Oh,
This is underneath your bridge. This is not. Yeah, this is in the water itself. It's not on the bridge. You can't go and look. You're gonna have to get in the water to investigate that a little closer. You can look at the top part of the stone if you want to, but you can't get to the whirlpool, open, cracked area.
And my investigation was crappy, so I couldn't see anything inside to get or anything that's happening in there. Okay.
No.
Maurice would like to ready an action to do Shield of Faith if somebody does something unsafe looking, like jumping into a hole through a cursed monolith. So if somebody does something he deems like, holy cow, that's a plan, he's just gonna grab one of his gears and throw it over and do Shield of Faith if that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Exactly that.
Okay. There we go.
I mean,
you have 15 seconds.
Okay, yeah, if we have 15 seconds and we don't know what to do, I'm just going to go and try and get in there. I know I'm not supposed to, but we have a limited time. We have this safety buffer, and we've already occurred. It was already a bad time when we got here, so Gervain's just going to really try and just do something quick. I don't know.
So Gervain, you're trying to... Let's just make sure you understand this, Gervain. You are attached to 3 other companions on a bridge with a rope. You're about to jump in the water on a bridge that's about to disappear with your companions attached to you on a rope.
Fuck it. I will cut the rope.
How do we get attached to each other on a rope?
I will cut my rope and go in there and get it.
You tethered yourselves as you're going across the bridge.
I wanted my rope to be tethered to the ground so that we could pick it up later.
Part of it was tethered to the ground.
But let's do it. I'm with Gervain. Slane's come on.
This is the source. We're trying to cure gypsophilia. We don't have much time. This is it.
All right, so Gervain and Slane, in a moment of action, you slice the rope, which leaves Faye and Aowel both exactly as Aowel's looking, completely shocked and can't believe this is happening. And the two of you attempt to jump into this whirlpool of the open monolith. Jesus Christ.
I'm going to hit the Shield of Faith. I can only do it to one of the 2 of them. I'll Shield of Faith Gervain. I feel like Slane will probably be okay. Gervain cannot... Yeah, let's Shield of Faith that guy.
Okay, Faye, you see, she immediately starts cantering down across this path of the bridge, concerned for her safety as well, wanting to make sure. She's like, this information needs to get back some way, somehow. We cannot all be heroes. And she is quickly running down the bridge. Aowel, what are you doing?
Aowel doesn't need to do what they were gonna do, which was apologize and shove Faye across the rest of the way and then run after. So
actually, facing that Faye's actually gonna kind of alley-oop you and pop you up onto her back and carry you both down the rest of this bridge. Gervain and Slane, I need you two to give me a Constitution saving on this one.
That's
You
what I'm
need to beat a
talking
12.
about. Natural 20.
Okay, so Gervain, you're able to jump into this water and somehow, miraculously, maybe it's that shield that Maurice tossed your way and the gods are smiling upon you. Holda, right? You have Holda going right now. Holda is smiling upon you for this effort, trying to help her priestess. You find yourself basically finding the one spot that's sort of like this little peaceful eye of the storm in the water. So you're near this monolith. You're not exactly in the whirlpool, but you can see what's going on far more closely. Slain, what did you get?
I got a 16.
Okay, so you as well managed to make it, because you need to be to 12 for this one. So you managed to make it. You're not in exactly the same spot as Gervain. However, you're not caught up in this whirlpool. You do, however, need to make sure that you are able to tread water a little bit here. Every so often your feet do sort of hit some sort of bottom, but it is slippery, it is gravelly, and footholds are not easy in this section because of the current and the pull of it.
Can I use my spear with the tip, with the blade at the river's sort of bed to like provide some kind of stability?
How long is your spear? Was it 5 feet?
And it's, I guess, like between 5 and 6 feet. Yeah.
You could shove it in the water, but you'd have to go underwater to do it.
Okay,
Because you're
I don't wanna do that.
you're 7 feet tall. So if you're able to hit it, that means the water. Yeah. So you're gonna have to go under.
All right. I would rather not do that. So let's just we got to get in there and get some eyes on it.
Get in there. Let's get whatever we need to go towards it. I'm just gonna try and figure out the source, try and learn some information, and get the hell out of here. But
Okay.
we went all this way. The stakes, I feel, Gervain feels the stakes are so big that just going for it.
Okay.
Sleep.
Okay. That's what she's doing. You're doing that. Those of you on the shoreline, I'd like you all to please give me an investigation as you're desperately seeking to see what your friends are doing and if they are okay. At this point, Faye has come across this bridge with AOL, and literally as her hooves hit the shoreline, you see AOL's bridge sort of dissipate into this sort of dark mist and fade away. And AOL, she'll sort of help slide you off of her back and look at you. Are you okay?
A bit panicked, but yeah, I'm okay.
Likewise. And she's going to spin her head around and take a look over at this stone. You all can see the stone. You cannot see Gervain and Slain perfectly, again, because you have this mist sort of blurring the perspective. But let's see what else you can pick up as you're watching your friends to see what's going to happen with them.
I rolled
Is there
a 5.
any chance I can do perception instead?
You want to do perception? Sure, you can do perception.
If I can. It's a difference
If
of
you
a
can,
plus
you-
2.
You
So that's
may.
a 14.
Okay. So we have a 14 for Maurice. AOL, what did you get?
4. So, I was
Four.
with people doing the investigation thing here.
All right. So I think you were a little bit more panicked, as was Faye, because she got a 6. 0, what about you? What did you get for yours?
5, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, dear. So we have the 3 basically staring at the stone in absolute panic. However, Maurice, you're noticing as you're looking at this stone, yes, there's this mist kicking around. However, there seems to be another mist that is forming and collecting itself sort of between the shoreline and the stone itself. And it is this
Of
very
course there would be.
interesting color. It is not red. It is more of this eerie, unsettling green color. And it starts taking shape. And as it's taking shape, you're noticing this form of robes and arms that are rather skeletal, yet bejeweled with bracelets and rings. And as it takes more shape to itself, you see the skeletal form of a woman. And her skull stares at you, Maurice, and you see this eerie green glow emanating from her sockets, and this broad skeletal grin as her head goes from the right to the left, taking in those on the shoreline as well as the 2 in the water, and above the din of the rapids, you hear her voice saying, "Someone's finally trying to see what's been going on, haven't they?" And she's looking directly at you, Maurice, because she knows you've seen her.
You could say that we are investigating, yes. I must say it is quite rude to appear without a proper introduction. I am Maurice. Who are you?
It's also quite rude to come to my part of the river and create such chaos without my permission. And she glares at the gaping monolith.
Perhaps it is rude. Perhaps it is prudent. Perhaps you should tell us who you are and what it is you're intending, and then we can either apologize or move from there.
Persuasion!
This is not gonna work!
Do it.
19!
Do it.
Wow, it might.
Get it.
You got a 19? Okay.
I got a 19. It might work.
A God Speaker.
You see as she's moving, her robes are actually sort of flowing of their own accord. It's not that she's being affected by the flow of the water at all, even though she's sort of immersed in the water from the knees up, or knees down, and the rest is above the water. So these regal-looking robes sort of swirl around her as she shifts, and she actually turns her back in full against the monolith now, and she's giving her full attention to those of you on the shoreline. At this point, Zira, Aol, and Faye would have noticed this woman, this skeletal creature speaking to you, and again, she has a very regal look to her. And Maurice, she looks to you, she goes, "I am the Lady Mercaine. Who are you all, and why are you here?"
We are but a bunch of concerned adventurers who have come to source out the source of corruption in the forest. Are you behind this? Is this your doing?
This is not of my doing. And as this conversation is going on, we're going to jump over to Gervain and Slain, who each need to give me a, let's go with a dexterity save at this point, because you're swimming in the waters. And again, you need to beat the 12.
Boom. That is a 13 for me.
You just make it. So, Slain, you're able to just keep going and stay above the water, even though this current is pulling you. Gervain, what about you? You're in sort of this little, like, a 7. So, with that 7, you feel yourself getting pulled out of that little eye of the storm area, and it's pulling you towards the monolith. Luckily for you, you do bump up against the monolith itself. However, you stay above water, but you are going to take 2 points bludgeoning in process of hitting that monolith. Okay. Now, you are also very much involved with trying to stay afloat and staying out of those currents, so you have not noticed this creature that has formed itself between you and your companions on the riverside. So now we're going to go back to the riverside crew, and the Lady Mercaine, her eyes, well, her eye sockets that are glowing this eerie green, they shift over to Faye, and she says, "It was one of you who created this mess of my river. One of you came here in greed, wanting more than what they're owed." And her eyes intensify as she's staring down Faye.
Maurice says nothing, but his head rotates 90 degrees to face Faye.
What about the other two? Zira and AOL.
I think that I want to be as non-threatening as possible, so I am just going to continue standing there.
Okay. With a smile on your face?
No. Not smiling.
No. AOL.
Panic's probably intensifying over here.
Okay.
And then looks at Faye. Do you know anything about this?
I know nothing of
This is
this.
something
I can No, this is not of my doing. I can assure you these stones are sacred to my people. The fact that someone would try and destroy them is... I don't understand. Who... And she looks towards the Lady Mercaine. Also, panic look in her eyes, very similar towards yours, Ael. Can you at least describe who this one looked like? I can maybe perhaps figure out who it was, but it was not me. It would never be me. I would never put my people or the forest or the grove in jeopardy of such. And she starts stuttering, which for Faye is very much out of character. And then she sort of straightens her shoulders. She goes, I am Feodorata, daughter of the chieftain and the priestess of the Grove of Eternal Autumn. I assure you, on my word of my parents and of our people, this was not of my doing, but I wish to know who did this so we can stop this happening and fix what has gone on here. And let's see if she's able to.
Can I do an insight check against her?
Sure, you absolutely can do an insight check against her.
Basically, the stammering and the stuttering has Maurice, like you said, that's very against her character. She's been very proper, very elegant, so to see her kind of caught off guard, Maurice wonders if she's not just kind of like struggling to pick something up. But he's only got a 9, so he has no idea anyway.
With the 9, you can tell that she's visibly shaken and upset. In terms of what the source for why she'd be feeling this way, you're not quite sure. But you can tell that she's coming from a place of almost pure anger. Like she's borderline furious at this point.
Okay.
Would the other two of you want to take note of this at all, or take into account what's going on with Faye?
I feel like I'm getting the impression that she's mad because somebody's messing with her forest, so no.
Okay, so you're going to take her at face value. AOL, do you take her at face value as well?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so AOL and Zira, they leave it unquestioning. Faye has just given this speech to the Lady Marcaine. Maurice, you're curious. Your sort of interests are piqued because of this change in demeanor, but you're not exactly sure as to what has caused this completely. So you're still slightly not suspicious, but you're keeping things in mind. The Lady Marcaine...
Sure. From the minute we got to that grove, like he was kind of wondering if the priestesses had something to do with it. So hearing this from the Lady Marcaine, he's now 100% right back on full suspicion mode.
Okay. So the Lady Marcaine, you see her vacillate between the two groupings. She turns and looks towards Gervain and Slain. If you want answers, get them out of my river first. And then I'm more than willing to share what I know. There's enough scum in the water as it is.
Whew. Shots fired.
Do me and Slain hear this?
Yeah, we hear this.
You are caught in these rapids and you hear this torrent of water. If you would like to see if you can hear, by all means, give me perception.
Okay.
I want to know if I got insulted.
11.
No, you hear the crashing of the water and the of the mist being created around you, but you don't hear Lady Mercaine. You see that she is agitated, but that's about it. Slain, what did you get?
I'm focused on my survival, and so he's 100% eyes forward. You know, if we came here to see what's in that monolith, what might have, whatever information we can glean. So if he can, he's going to make his way there and just peek in, see, who knows.
Okay, so you want to try and swim into the monolith itself. In that case, give me a strength. Actually, no, give me acrobatics on that one. Because you're trying to maneuver with this water and towards the monolith. If you want to try that too, Gervain, also acrobatics for the both of you. Let's see if you can beat a 14 on this one, because you're getting into that whirlpool area.
Yes.
15.
22.
15? 22. All right. So the two of you do manage. You see your companions are sort of addressing this creature that's appeared between the two of you. But you get yourselves to that monolith area. And you are able, if you wanted to, you could grab sort of the sides of where this hole has been opened up in the monolith itself, so as not to get completely pulled into the whirlpool. But you need to do a strength check to do so.
Yes.
Natural 20.
All right. So Gervain, you're definitely good. Slain?
I got a 14 if 14 for my strength check.
Great. So you both beat it. So you're both able to grab onto the edges here of the monolith. You do feel your lower portions of your body getting pulled with the current of this whirlpool sort of shooting itself back out, but you're not pulled down into the rapids. You're just sort of tucked up against the stone itself and grasping onto the edges, and it's keeping you where you are. So the lady Mercane, she has just cast her glance towards the two of you, and the rest of you sort of see her eyes gain intensity in this green glow as she's looking at the two of them. And then her head will whip back around to Faye, and she focuses on her more. In fact, she actually moves forward towards Faye, and you see she's sort of doing this eerie glide across the water. Again, knees down or still in the water, almost as she wants to appear like she's walking in the water, but that's not really the case. She's more hovering through it. And she gets closer. She doesn't get out of the water itself, but she is close enough for you all to see that, again, she's covered in these jewels, these robes. They once must have been made of silk and the finest of fabrics and everything like that. And she leans in a little bit towards Faye. No, not quite you. It could have been you if your eyes were darker. She came at night, right before the dawn, her long dark hair billowing in the wind, her eyes as black as the sky on a moonlit night. But she was not you. But she was angry. She wanted power. She heard the stones calling. She gave in to the temptation of those below than the ones above. But she was not you.
Faye, I do not mean to interrupt, and I realize this is kind of a big moment, but is it at all possible she is describing your mother right now?
My mother has blue eyes. The bluest of eyes,
yes.
the color of the morning day. But if she had the dark
Yes.
eyes... There are only two others who fall in this description.
And who would that be?
Drosera and her mother. Drosera's one of the other maidens. Her mother had been one before. And I know they were not happy that my mother, who is younger than her mother, was the one to receive the position of priestess. Their family has always been a problem in terms of following and listening. I did not know they would take it to such measures. And she'll focus back on the Lady Mercane. Did she look young or did she look old? Please, whatever information you can give us, we can perhaps help and be of better service to you, but this is not something my people would have wanted to have happened. This is never the intention of our kind. And the Lady Mercane, you hear this sort of sighing growl. Information you always want from me, but I see no action. None whatsoever. You leave those wallowing in my waters and ask me more and more. What am I to do? Gervain and Slain, you are hanging off this monolith. what do you hope to see?
Is it possible to peer inside and still keep our heads above water?
Yes, because of how you are holding on to the monolith, you are able to do just that. So tell me what it is you want to do. You want to do an investigation? Do you want to do an arcana? Where are you leaning? History, even.
Yeah. I think I think for Slain it's that, you know, if there's been a lot of like conflicting stories about these stones, who or what might be underneath them, what their purpose is. So he is looking for some kind of something that suggests one of the many possible explanations for it. What might be here is what I was looking for. Markings, inscriptions, that sort of thing.
All right. Go for it.
Yeah.
So let's do this as if you're looking for like markings and stuff. Let's do sort of an arcana factor then.
Okay.
And I'm doing investigation because it's all the same for Gervain. It's all zeros, but I figured he's using some of his knowledge of his ghostly influence, thinking it's maybe ritualistic or some sort of damage repaired thing. He's looking for that.
Sure. Okay. So, Slain, what did you get?
I got 14.
14 and Gervain, what did you get?
A hot 9.
A hot 9. All right. With this, you are able to see that what had once been inside this monolith is no longer there. So there was something that was within the monolith itself, and yet when you can sort of glance and get towards the center of the whirlpool, not that you're actually going into it, but looking into it, it seems as if it also is swirling down into a cavity underneath the monolith itself. So whatever was going on, you have this huge column of open space between both the monolith and down into underneath in the waters. But that's really about all you can gain from this in terms of Gervain taking in information. Slain, you will see that there are runic symbols sort of etched inside the monolith itself of a more druidic nature. It's one of those things where they are very worn. Some of them are even hard to read now because of the time that has been in this. But you can see that whatever was contained inside, the charm of it has been broken. That whatever magic had been there is now gone.
So, and I mean, Slane's not particularly skilled in sort of stoneworking or anything like that, but is there any way to tell, what exactly broke the stone? Did something come out? Did something crack it from the outside? Is it any way to tell?
With the way this water is tearing through, any evidence of that is completely gone. In fact, chances are this has been opened up more because of the water. And do you remember that when you first got here, when you first sort of came to these stones, you saw that there was a crack in this stone, and now you have an open hole.
Right. I remember that now. Okay, so Slane just sort of thinks to himself that he's probably going to have to go down that cavity underneath the monolith at some point, but maybe not right now. What do you say we head back, Gervain? And he's sort of looking around the best way to get out of there.
Okay, so honestly, the best way would probably to catch yourselves in one of the currents and have yourself pulled downstream with the current helping you rather than trying to swim against it.
Yeah.
Okay.
From the intensity.
Maurice has one net left in his inventory. The other one got shredded by the Alamites. But if it's at all helpful, I don't have any rope, though, is the problem. It's just a net. So I don't know what good it would do to just throw a net on these guys as they're struggling to swim.
You have the net that was left over from when they cut themselves free from AOL and Faye. So there is a bit of length of rope left from that. Let's say 15 feet. We'll split the difference that you could use if you wanted to. Even if I can just help them, Okay. All right, so what's happening here is you see the Lady Marcaine is glaring at the two that are still in the monolith, and she whips back around. Get them out! Get them out, or I will have my minions do it for me. And as she says this, you see two skeletal forms emerge from the water as well. And unlike her, they're not this glowing green, but more of this purplish mist forming around them. And they are skeletons. These two skeletal bodies rise from the water. They stand flanking on either side of the Lady Marcaine, weapons at the ready, jaws clacking. And one turns towards the party on the riverside, and the other one turns and stares towards the two in the monolith.
When you say your minions will do it for you, do you mean they will actually be of assistance, or will they hurt my friends?
They will add to my numbers.
I see. Un moment, s'il vous plaît. And then Maurice is going to hastily make his way down to there and throw the net on these guys to try to reel them in.
Yep, that's the picture I'm getting of Maurice right now. Okay, so Maurice, let us do a... how do we want to spin this one? Let's do some sleight of hand work in terms of getting this net tied up to the rope and out into the water.
That is a nat 20. That's the first one I've gotten in like 3 sessions.
Holy, that's a sweet
Yes. There's a lot
Okay,
of
and I'm just like hastily, like masterful fisher nets here.
Beautiful. So I have a feeling that you're sort of tapping into one of your gods of the more aquatic nature, and you're able to get this net pulled together. And you almost get the sense that Hold is willing to take a step back and allow this other god to sort of come forward and influence you as you get this net prepared. And you definitely toss this net into the water, and immediately, are you holding onto the one end of the rope, I'm assuming? Yes?
Absolutely. Like secretly whispering to Segodon the entire time. Like, I'm so sorry, I realize I am worshipping Ulda at the moment, but oh my god, please give me your strength. And then throwing the net into the water.
And you feel this wave of strength come over you, literally like a wave would catch you in the ocean water. But it is fortifying you, it is giving you strength, and it is making your arms nimble and deft. As you toss this net out into the water and you hold on to the one end of the rope, you see the net billow out and open as if it is ready to catch a very large catch in the ocean. However, you were hoping it was going to catch your companions instead. And as this is happening, we've lost Zira. AOL and Faye are looking at the Lady Marcaine. AOL, what is going through your mind as you see these two skeletal figures now flanking this strange skeletal woman who is hovering in the waters?
I'm pretty sure there's more panic.
If AOL could, she'd be nope, get away.
Yep, but also not here for that. I think one thing she would have done is she would have, when she saw the lady get really, really agitated, she probably would have placed herself between the lady and Faye. Just kind of like, don't come close or I don't know.
Okay. So
something.
AOL, you've basically positioned yourself between one of the people of the forest and this creature of the water, or this skeletal creature who seems to have come out of nowhere. And you do feel yourself almost surrounded by these sudden whispers, and you're able to hear it above the din of the water and the roaring. And you hear them whispering, "One of our own. Protect. She is one of us. Stay strong." And you do feel yourself gain a little bit more confidence, so your next move will get advantage. The Margreave has embraced you.
Okay. Oh, I think I'm just getting ready in case things go south.
Okay. All right, so you're preparing yourself just in case the worst should happen. The Lady Marcaine, she is seeing that Maurice is trying to do something, and you hear just this hissing, like, almost impatience, and you hear the clattering of these jaws of her two skeletal minions. One is advancing slowly towards you and Faye, AOL, again holding their weapon up at the ready. And the other one turns and it starts making its way towards Gervain and Slain. You see Maurice running down the shoreline, you see him toss something into the water, and at the very last minute, you do see the net billow itself out.
Mhm.
What would you like to do as you see it hit into the water?
Well, I mean, I
Further
think getting out of
downstream.
there, further downstream, yeah, I think getting out of there is good, if only because there's no way to really get a good look at what's in there without getting probably sucked into the cavity. So let's
Okay.
try to swim over to the net.
All right,
Same.
so if you're going to release and try to swim, I'd like you each to give me a Constitution saving throw because you're back into these rapids.
16.
23.
Gervain, you are safe. Oh, perfect. So safe and safe. You both beat the 14. So you release, and you feel your body is pulled by this current. And within moments, you feel yourself suddenly snagged and caught in this net. And you can tell it's a net right away from the way it's embracing your bodies, and you're able to catch parts of your limbs into it. Maurice, you feel your companions fall into that net, and you feel that distinct tug of having caught something.
Rather than try to reel them in, because Maurice is not a strengthy guy, he would just try to set his weight against the net and against the rope, and kind of gently pull back on it, so as more so to give them, and basically like trying to justify a help action to give them advantage to swim, because I know that Maurice is not strong enough to haul these guys.
Okay. So you're sort of giving it a guided hand is how we're looking at this. So let's
480 pounds of come this way.
Okay. So since you are gently trying to work this net out of the stream, or out of the current, that's what I want, out of the current, Gervain and Slain, you're going to feel that this tension sort of floats you down the current a little bit, and then you start to feel it sort of ebb itself to the side, because if you're not going to go with the current, it's going to just push you out of its way. So you feel yourselves get pulled out of the strength of the current. Maurice, you feel the tugging, so let's do for you, let's do an athletics just to make sure you're not pulled over. All right. And then for Gervain and Slain, I'd like you each to give me just a Constitution check.
This is
Doesn't have
how
to be a save
Maurice
at this
dies. I don't know how, but
Or
this
just
is how
get-
he dies.
Or just gets pulled into the water and gets a little bit more
A
messy.
3!
Ooh, a 3.
I called it.
Oh, dear me.
Called my
Yep.
shot.
So while you have been standing on the edge and outside of the water, you do feel yourself getting pulled in up to your knees at this point. You, however, have not let go of the rope, and you do see that the net has pulled itself out of the current and is now drifting towards the edge line of the shore, which means Gervain and Slain, you suddenly do start to be able to feel yourselves hit ground underneath the water. So you could feasibly stand up at this point and get yourselves out of the net. But Maurice, you have essentially been dipped into the water again, and you are going to have to deal with some rest issues later on as a result.
So
But your
begins again.
companions are safe. And
It
at
was
this
worth it.
point, we're back to Zira and AOL, and the Lady Marcaine and her two minions. You hear the one minion who had been facing Slain and Gervain almost upset that its target is now no longer where it was before, and it starts to slosh its way downriver towards where you see Maurice, Slain, and Gervain a little bit further down. However, you start to hear this wicked cackling. Distance is always better. And I need my numbers increased if I want to keep mine protected. Do as you will, my darlings. Help your mother out. And as she says this, she disappears in this swirl of the eerie green mist. However, her two minions are left, and coming towards you, Zira and AOL, is one of her shadow skeletons. Coming towards you, Gervain, Maurice, and Slain, is the other one. And I'd like you all to roll initiative.
Five.
All right, so Slain is a
13.
21. Who got the 5? Zira? Or Ale? It was Zira? Okay, Zira got the 5. Maurice? What did you get?
13 for Maurice.
13 for Maurice. Gervain?
Fighters 5.
5 and 5. AOL. And what did you get for your initiative, AOL? You're muted.
8.
8 for AOL. Okay, now let me get... All right, Faye got an 18. And then these dudes, they got a 16. Actually, let me roll twice because we have 2 of them going. So, okay, so one got a 16 and one got a 4. All right, so we have Skeleton 1, who's going towards Faye, Zira, and Aowel, and Skeleton 2, who's going towards Maurice, Gervain, and Slain. So, Skeleton 2 is going to be at the end of the list. So then we have Slain, is our 21. I'm just getting everyone marching orders here. So, Slain, you're going to start us off. Faye jumps in with an 18. Then Skeleton 1 will go with a 16. Maurice, you come in with your 13. Aowel, you are then up with an 8. Zira and Gervain, which of you would like to go first, or would you like to do dual action where one takes action against the one skeleton and one takes action against the other? We can spin it that way if you want.
Gervain can go first.
Okay, so Gervain, you then go with your 5. Zira then follows with her 5. And the second skeleton rounds us off with a 4. So it's Slain, Faye, Skeleton 1, who is heading towards the river edge right across from the monolith. Then we have Maurice. Then we have Aowel. Then we have Gervain. Then we have Zira. And then we have Skeleton 2, who is walking down the river towards the other 3 who are further down from the monoliths. So, Slain, you see this creature, the skeletal creature, is starting to march towards you. You are knee-deep in the water. What would you like to do?
I'd like to get out of the water and beat it on dry land.
Okay, so you just basically use your motion to get up and out of the water. Not a problem at all, and away you go. That brings us now to... And you'll have your weapon at the ready. Okay, not a problem at all. So now we have Faye going back to the one who's within distance. She is actually going to attempt to hit it with her longbow, which means I'm going to need a D8. All right, and she will be able to, with a, what did she get here? She got, she actually did pretty darn well here. She got a 21. So with a 21, she absolutely is able to shoot towards the skeleton, and she shoots her bow, and it takes on 8 points. However, you notice that it does not do as much damage as you had hoped, or she had hoped. She actually looks a little bit disappointed, as it does take on some damage, but not all as she had expected. And that then brings us to the first skeleton. So it getting hit is going to hiss in displeasure. And in return, it's going to try and use its finger darts against Faye. And it will hit. So she is actually going to be taking on... Okay, so she's got 5 points of piercing against her, as well as 3 points of necrotic damage as a result of these darts. And that is its turn, and it is now taking us to Maurice.
Seeing the one that just shot the darts at Faye, Maurice's head is going to snap over towards it, because it was still kind of like rotated towards... Well, I mean, the whole fishing thing, never mind. But either way, he's going to see that, and he's going to get very mad. There's going to be some sparks that are going to kind of start shooting up from his horns, and he's going to see that one and start just ranting in French as he takes a 5-step back out of the water, and it's just espèce de bêtise. Maintenant, je vais te montrer le pouvoir de da. And I'm going to hit it with Shatter.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's see if you hit.
So it's going to have to do a con save to prevent some of that damage.
Okay, let's see. Oh, wait, no. That's not its dice. Hold on, that's Faye. Okay, so with a 11.
So I'm actually going to use my my channel divinity to cause it to take maximum damage. So it's actually just going to take 24 thunder damage.
Sweet. And this is the one that is standing across from the ladies.
Yeah, the one that
Further
just
up
took a shot at Faye, the one that's presumably somewhere near the water-ish, just...
And how much? You said 24?
24 thunder damage, yeah.
24 thunder damage. Okay, so Maurice, as you cast this in your anger and your fierce protection of your companions, this wave emits out from you, and as it hits this creature, you see it shake and rattle, and you'll see sort of like a couple rib bones fall away, and you see some flecks of chipping bone sort of get into a dust-like thing as it sort of encapsulates it. But it has definitely taken on some damage as a result. And that is going to leave it looking definitely not so good as it first did when it appeared with the Lady Mercane. And now we are at Aowil. You see this creature shaking and jumbling itself up and pieces of it falling off, and it's definitely been hit. What is it you would like to do, seeing it taking on this damage?
As much as I would like to do damage first, I think I should probably be trying to prevent further damage. So I'm going to turn to Faye. I'm going to ask, do you mind?
Do I mind? Do you mind what?
More shield.
Oh, absolutely. Please.
Okay. And I will cast Mage Armor on her.
Okay.
Find some cover. Your parents will kill me if you get hurt more. They might kill us.
I promised your father I'd bring you back by midnight in one piece. Okay, so what is she going to get in terms of that? That's an 13 plus her dexterity. Okay, so that bumps her up a little bit. That helps. Thank you very much. And you absolutely could like duck behind a tree if you wanted to, because there are trees lining along the riverside. So that's everything you're going to do for your round?
Target. I'm staying out as
What
a
was that?
target. She can hide.
So you're asking her to go into hiding at her next turn. Okay. So Gervain, it is your turn now. You see this skeletal creature coming towards the three of you. It is probably about 40 feet away. Not quite on top of you, but getting there.
Okay. It's 40 feet away. I'm going to try and meet it halfway, or like 30 feet forward.
Okay. You are also still in the water. So.
Oh, okay. Get out the water.
Stay in the water? Okay, so that's going to, let's say that takes like about half of your.
Mm-hmm. So
your,
15 more feet to come into shore.
So you can run up.
And,
okay, so that's going to close the gap more.
And then I guess for my action, I'm going to beckon for Little Czar to come towards us, because I figured he was kind of staying back a ways.
All right, so Little Czar makes his way towards you. He had actually been following along with Maurice, seeing that Maurice was about to do something, and he's kind of been trotting along. So you see him sort of break the split difference between what's happening further upriver and coming down towards you. So Little Czar is now close to you, and the skeleton is not as far away. And Zira, it is now your turn. Muted?
I'm muted in so many ways. I want to throw...
goodness.
Oh my goodness. I want to throw a hand axe at it. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
And it's noble.
All right. Sorry.
Well, I rolled a natural 18.
Okay, so yes, that's going to hit. So describe this what it looks like as you toss this hand axe and it lands square in the noggin of this skeleton.
Well, I only rolled 2 points of damage, so I feel like maybe it just rolls in the air over and over and maybe just like nicks its eye socket.
You see it takes a slight chunk out of the brow of the skull. It takes on a little bit of damage, not as much as you would hope, but some damage is incurred.
It looked impressive until the noggin was very thick.
Yes, you forgot that the skull is a very thick area where you were aiming at that portion. So that is everything for you? Correct?
I'll move closer too, but I only have 20 feet of movement, I think, 25, so can't get very far.
So that's going to bring you basically, unless you want to go into the water, you'd come up to the edge of the shoreline.
I'll just go to the edge of the shoreline.
Okay, so that's going to close the distance for you so that it's only about 15 feet away from you now at this point, the first skeleton, because it hasn't really been able to advance too much. So the second skeleton, it is going to move forward. So Gervain, it is now within 10 feet of you along the shoreline, but it is also going to turn and take its aim surprisingly at Maurice. Its eyes glaring because you have basically taken away its fun by catching your companions in the net. So it is going to attempt to fire one of its finger darts at you as well, and does an 8 hit.
An 8 does not hit.
Okay, so you see this dart shooting from its hand, and it whizzes right past you. And it's one of those things where you can see that it's angry because its jaw starts clacking even more, almost as if it's gnashing its teeth. And that is pretty much all it is going to do at this point, because it is not using something else. All right, so that brings us back up to the top with Slain.
All right, so there's one that's about 10 feet away from where we are on the shore, you said?
There is one that's about 10 feet from where Gervain is, so for you it's more about 20 feet, because Gervain moved up the shoreline, whereas you and Maurice have stayed further back. Gotcha.
Well, if I can, I'd like to do a couple things. Number one, can I use my spear as a quarterstaff? Like, swing the blunt end of it instead of stabby end.
I will let you do it, but without proficiency on that one.
Okay.
Because you're using it as something than what it's intended.
Sure. And he'll sort of like choke up on it and awkwardly, so he doesn't stab himself with the pointy end.
Yeah, that's just it. You're dealing with a pointy end. Okay.
Bash the skeleton.
So you're going to try and move. So you're moving up to close the distance, and then you're going to try and hit it with the quarterstaff. You will be able to pull that off, yes.
Okay.
So let's see if you're able to hit.
6.
No. Probably in your haste to hit this with your spear as if it were a quarterstaff, you're also running along this river bed, which has river stone. It's not exactly sand, so you have this sliding thing happening with your footing, so you're not able to keep your footing as you go in and hit this swing. So it does not hit the skeleton. And that now takes us over to Faye, who's seeing this creature coming towards. She is going to... That's not correct. Hold on there. I quickly pulled together her stat sheet. So I need to get acids. She's going to try and hit it with her acid splash and cast it towards the skeleton. So, let me see here. It has to do a dex save against her. So it has to do a dex save against an... Bueller. I just had it. Where'd it go? All right. So let's see if it makes this. And it does not. So she is able to cast this bubble of acid towards this skeleton. And it is going to take on 2 points of acid damage. So at least it's something. And that is going to be her action, and then she is going to quickly fall back and sort of tuck herself behind one of the trees as you requested, Aol. So she's no longer in harm's way, but she sort of got her last little throw before sort of ducking behind a tree. And now it is its turn. So it It is going to try and do one last hurl of a dart towards her. However, it misses greatly, I think, because it's been so rattled and shaken. And now we are back to Maurice.
Okay, Skeleton 1, if I understand it correctly, is the ones in the river. Is that right? Or coming out of the river?
They're both in the river, and they're both about to come out. It's just distance-wise. Skeleton 1 is focused mostly on Aowell, Zira, and Faye. Skeleton 2 is aimed towards Gervain, Slain, and you. You are still about 20 feet further down from it than the other two are because they have closed the distance.
Okay. The one that I hit, the huge thunderbolt, Maurice, the shatter, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Skeleton 1. That's going after. Maurice's head is going to kind of like pan around to all of his companions, but like all the way around, like a 360 before snapping back onto Skeleton 1. And just kind of shaking his head. Vous n'allez pas faire mal à mes amis. And he's going to point at it and then just radiate that wave of sound a cold dead. So that'll be once again a wisdom save or 1d12 necrotic.
Wisdom save. They're not smart. They really are not smart.
I was hoping they wouldn't be.
Believe it or not, I got a 16.
Damn it! So that is going to fail. And that would be the end of Maurice's turn.
Okay.
Actually,
Maurice...
I have movement. I would like to get right up into its face. I want to stand right in front of it. I want it to be stuck having to deal with me before trying to go after my friends.
Okay, so you're going up to Skeleton 2, because Skeleton 2 is within your range to do that.
Sure.
One is further upriver. Okay. All right, so you get up into Skeleton 2's face, and you're basically between the skeleton and Gervain and Slain by doing so. Okay, Maurice,
unblinking
and now
steel eyes staring into the voids of his skull!
steel eyes into gaping holes of swirling purple mist in the sockets of its eyes. All right, Aowell, we're to you now. You see that Faye has fallen behind the tree. She is safe at this point, so far. You are still out in the open with the first skeleton looming down at you. What are you going to do, my dear?
Eldritch Blast.
Ooh, cool.
Just like,
And
alright.
it hits! It hits!
Yes!
This is like the first time your Eldritch Blast is taken. That's what I'm trying to remember.
No, it's just been a bit.
It's been a while. All right, cool. So this absolutely will hit, and it's 4 points. Hey, 4 is better than none. It is absolutely is something. Okay, so you send this Eldritch Blast towards this skeletal creature, and once again, you sort of see it shake its head as it takes on this force damage, and it takes the full damage, which is great. And it's not looking too fantastic. It's looking rattled. It's still on its feet, however, and it still has its, I guess it's not faculties considering what it is, but it still has some semblance to its ability to take in what's going on around it. Now that takes us to Gervain.
Yeah.
We are back to you with the second skeleton.
I'm going to try and... I think I can approach it now, right? Because I'm within its range.
Yeah, you're definitely within its... Yeah, you absolutely can.
All right. I'm going to take a stab at it with my Stilled Heart Spear. It's a 18 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay, I'm going to do the 1d6. So that's going to be 9 normal piercing damage.
Okay.
Let's see. 3 necrotic damage, and then I'm going to use its charge to do additional 2d6.
Okay.
So, no dice. That was a 3. And a 2, so another 5 necrotic damage, which I get health back from.
Yes, you do. So you get the equal amount of that back to your own health, so you get 5 back to your health.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So that'll help you out. And then you see the piercing doesn't do as much damage so much as the necrotic does. You see it starting to wear it away. It's almost as if the bones are looking a little brittle in the one arm, let's say. It definitely is something that affects you,
and-
whereas your piercing,
And
not as
Zar.
much as you hope. Yes, and
He's there.
now we have Zar, little Zar. Are we little Zar?
17 for his bite.
That will hit.
And gonna be 3 piercing damage. And 11 for his claw. Was that
Which
hit?
will miss. Nope, that
Okay.
will miss.
That's fine.
However, between the two of you, you do see that you have definitely taken a few bone chunks out of this creature. It is not looking as grand as it initially had when the Lady Mercane had summoned her minion, but it is still standing and it still has some fight left to it. That takes us now to Zira. So Zira, you are standing on the shoreline. You have Aelwell standing next to you. You just saw that Faye went to tuck herself behind a tree. What is it you would like to do with this skeleton that's not looking as great?
I'm going to just I'm going to try to like slice it where that poison or the necrotic damage was. And that
Okay.
would be 13.
A 13 just hits.
It just hits.
It just hits. Yep.
13 points of damage.
Takes 13 points of damage.
Yeah.
All right.
And
so
then sorry.
go ahead. Nope. Go.
I want to take one of my special my action surge, and take another swing at it.
Sure.
And the same spot, maybe get. Oh, it misses.
It misses. What did you get?
I got 12.
Shoot, just misses. Okay. So your first shot, it definitely has done some damage to it. It is now looking extremely worn and weathered and hacked apart. Unfortunately, your other motion seems to swing a little bit wide, and it grazes past it without doing any damage whatsoever. And that now takes us to the second skeleton. So Maurice, you are right up in its face, correct? You're right up in its grill. So it is going to attempt to hit you. I keep grabbing the wrong dice. It's going to attempt to hit you using its scimitars.
I want you to do it. Come at me, bro. Come at me.
So it's going to try and attempt to get you with its scimitars. So it's going to do one swing at you, and it absolutely will not be able to hit you because it just got a natural 1. However, it does not drop that scimitar. So it goes after you again with its second scimitar, trying to hit you. Come on. Does an 8 hit you?
Damn it. No, it doesn't.
No. So in its trying to keep the one scimitar, its other swing is not as honed as it could be, and he just sort of waffles these swords around you ineffectively. And that is its turn, and now it brings us up to the top with Slain.
All right. So I'm going to stand beside Gervain and continue to use my spear inappropriately. This time I got a 23 to hit. And,
Which will hit.
And that's going to be 8 damage from the bashy end instead of the pokey end.
Okay, good. All right, so as you hit it with the bashy end, you do see that this seems to have done a decent amount, and you've taken a good chunk out of part of it. So it's still standing, it's still able to hold itself, but it's getting beat up. Is there anything else
I'm
you'd
good.
like to do, or is that it? You're good. Okay,
That's
so
it.
now we'll move back to Faye, who is tucked away behind her tree, as instructed by Aelwell. You can tell she is respecting your wishes. However, you do see her start to cast yet another spell. Let me just check something here. No, go away for a second. I need the information. I don't need you to do that for me. So she is going to... Oh, no, she's not going to do that because that could affect Aelwell and Zira. So she's not going to do that. She's going to cast guidance upon... Oh, is that a touch? That's a touch. So not guidance. She's going to do... Produce flame. So she's going to produce a flame in her hand, and she's going to toss it at this creature, which it will hit. And all right, so it takes on some of this flame damage. However, not as much as you could tell she had been hoping, thinking, you know, oh, maybe this might do something. It is looking worn. It is swaying on what is left of its body and feet. So this first skeleton, it is still upright. It looks terrible after this last strike of flame. You can tell it is not looking good at all. That is for Zira and Aol and anyone else who's been focusing on Skeleton 1. Skeleton 1 is now up, and it is going to attempt to try one more finger dart in the direction of Faye, because she did sort of tip her hat as to her location, and it will miss, probably because it is in such a poor state. So you see that finger dart just whiz way above her antlers and does not strike her. Now we are at Maurice. It is your turn.
Which one looks worse, Skeleton 1 or Skeleton 2?
1 for sure.
1 for sure. Okay. And I'm up in Skeleton 2's face at the moment, eh?
Yes, you are.
I want to
Skeleton 1
stay
looks like-
up in Skeleton 2's face.
Okay.
But Skeleton 1, let me just make a quick decision here. So Maurice's head is gonna snap around 180 degrees, and his whole body is gonna kind of like start whirling and turning, and he's gonna do that thing where he starts to glow like orange, then red, then white, and he's gonna shoot up a guiding bolt at it. And that is an actual spell attack, unlike most of my nonsense.
Yeah. So this is for Skeleton 1, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Let me see if I have that macro. I think I do. It's been a while since I did a spell that wasn't just a guidance. Oh, yeah, sweet.
There you go.
16 to hit.
And it will absolutely hit. So describe to us.
Whew!
Yeah. Okay, so no offense to you, but with that, I'm taking this one over. So as your guiding bolt shoots from you, you see it hits true to the skeleton, and it doesn't just break apart, it dissolves into this particulate glow of radiance left over from your own bolt, and it is completely obliterated, and it just vanishes. There's nothing left of it because of the damage you have done upon this first skeleton. So Skeleton 1 is officially gone.
Good.
And
So
down.
still steaming a little bit from the heat generated by the guiding bolt. His head's going to turn back around the wrong way 180 degrees to Skeleton 2, and he's just going to stare right into its face and then kind of do one of those like, Venez, allons-y, and then get himself ready for a fight.
And it's going to clack its jaw back at you in response. Because it can't really speak, but it's not happy that you're in its grill. All right, so now that's Maurice who's done. Aol, the immediate threat in front of you is gone. However, you can see further down the river, about 30 feet, there is this skeleton still encroaching and attacking your fellow companions further downriver. Its back is to you because Maurice is all up in its face.
All right. But only 30 feet downriver, so that's easily within range. I'm going to send off another Eldritch Blast.
Very cool. And it will hit. Tonight is the night for the Eldritch Blast. It'll take 3/4. Okay. So, you send this Eldritch Blast down, and it takes the damage, and it rattles a little bit from the force of it, but it is still standing. So now we are to Gervain.
So the one in front of me and Maurice he killed that one, right?
No, that one's still standing.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes everything a lot easier. I will then
Well,
just
if
do
it's
some more
right in front
attacks
of
on
me.
it.
Okay. Let's see how you do with this.
6, 15, 16, 15, 15. 15
Yeah,
to hit.
both will hit. You're fine with both, so either or. I will accept.
And that's going to be 8 piercing and 6 necrotic.
Okay, so the piercing again doesn't quite do as much as you had hoped, but it does do some damage with that necrotic. It's looking more worn down, more brittle in certain parts of its skeletal frame.
Sweet. I will... You know what? Let's do it. We'll do it. I'm going to action surge. It never works, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, get on the direction search.
18 to hit. That's the first time.
That's gonna hit.
All right.
It's
and
a
you know
nice
what?
in the action. Ah.
We're gonna. Okay, so that's 6 piercing, 2 necrotic, and then I will burn another charge for the yeah.
Okay.
9 points of additional points of necrotic damage.
Which, as you deal this last blow of damage, Gervain, tell us how you just do away with the last of the shadow skeletons that Lady Mercane called forth.
Sure. So I will use my spear to kind of parry its arms, breaking its arms essentially. Then I'm going to go down low with the spear and bring it all the way up through its spine and ribs, and then at the very end, like, stab my spear through its head and kind of have the spearhead kind of skull thing going on.
Beautiful. I love it. So as that spear drives through its head, you see the skull crack and fall in twain and into the water, and you hear the clunk clunk of the skull dipping into the water and the rest of the bones, and you see it getting swept away and then dissipating into the waters of the river. And as this last skeleton disappears, you hear this guttural echoing through the area, reverberating against the stones. And you know you've definitely displeased the Lady Mercane. However, she does not show herself again. And you are now left with being by the riverside. You have gotten some information. You have definitely faced some foes. What is it you would like to do?
Get back as soon as possible to start pointing fingers.
Interesting. Okay. So, you got
you.
It was you!
You have some important information, though. You have found out that it could quite potentially be this mother or daughter, maybe both. You don't know yet. But the Lady Mercane did provide some information to get you going. And you do know that one of the stones has been absolutely compromised. Slain, you picked up on the fact that something happened to the spell itself from the damage that you saw. Something has been broken. So, yes, how would you all like to play this last little bit out as you regroup together?
Did Gervain completely shatter the skull of the one that he killed?
Oh, it went shunk and into the water, and away it went. And it basically sort of disintegrated in process. It didn't stick around like a normal skeleton. Sorry, honey. It's gone, though.
That made a good trinket.
Yeah, I know, I figured. And Slain, you do feel Strag sort of poke their head back out.
Is it over? Where are they going? Are we safe again?
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. You didn't get too wet back there, did you?
Well, just a little bit, but nothing a little good fire can't take care of. Are you okay?
Oh, sure. Well, number one, don't let a fire on my back, please. And second, I'm all right, thank you.
Okay, well, let's get back to the others then. Probably should get back to the others and see how they are, because
Yeah.
better that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Take it easy, Shrek. And who was that skeleton lady that they came out? And he just sort of asking idly to the. Come on, Shrek. What is
Something marqué.
It's just like, who was that strange masked one?
Who was that strange person?
So, all right. So as you gather, you have Slain questioning who that woman could have possibly been.
Yeah.
You have Faye. She actually is looking rather bemused and still visibly shaken. Not so much from the encounter, but by the information that she got. I do not know who that creature was. It is the first I have been here and heard of her, but so much is changing around us. I am not the expert on this, but we do have her name at least. That is something.
Yeah. Are they far? Are we gonna have to walk a long way?
A long way to where?
To the person that we're looking for.
Well, I do not know where this lady has gone, Slain, but we should probably get back up to the grove and let them know that we have found out some information.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
As Faye says she doesn't know where she's gone, Maurice wants to kind of glance at his compass and see if it's doing anything or pointing towards anything. Just, your coincidence. Maybe it's what it or I don't know.
Okay, sure. So take a glance at your compass, and you see it is pointing. It's pointing in the direction it should be pointing. It's acting like a compass again. So if you wanted to use it for directional purposes, it will work for you.
And who
Because
am I
it's a
standing
compass.
closest to at this point?
Who would you like to be standing closest to at this point?
I feel like I'm probably standing closest to either Slain or Ewell.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And
So
whoever I'm
you-
Oh, go ahead.
It could probably be both of them. You could probably be one on one side, one on the other if you want.
1 second.
Roll
I'm
a
deciding.
d4. Here, we'll do this. Have you decided? That or I'm doing a
Yeah,
d4 evens or AOL and okay, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, so evens are AOL and odds are Slain, because that just seems
Perfect.
appropriate. All right, and it will be Slain. With a 1.
Yeah. I'm just staring at Slain.
Hey. It's pretty exciting back there.
Yeah, I could say so. Really, really exciting. Yeah, we did good.
I think so. Like, did you get a look inside there or anything? I couldn't see much, but it looked like there was I don't know, something underneath there, like a hole or something.
Yeah, I think there was a hole in there. I couldn't see in there.
I just saw some writing and other stuff. Looks like maybe glyphs or something. It was old. Did that?
If you're,
Go ahead, Jermaine.
yeah, I mean, you just see me like staring and peering right at your face, like weirdly. Currently,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Oh yeah. Well, something in my teeth.
Yeah. You could probably
Alright.
just clear them out real quick. I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope everything's okay, Jermaine. You're not like possessed because you went and messed with a forest monolith that has a vampire spirit in it or anything like that.
No.
So, did we summon that lady? Or was that something else?
Again, you're just asking out into the forest.
Yeah, he's just sort of like, oh. He's just slaying through like something happened. He's starting to get more paranoid. Yeah, he's just sort of curious if I guess somebody knows her, but Slane he's like he didn't see them fighting her, so he's like maybe she was like helpful or maybe like something like save my people kind of thing.
Yeah, you have
so-
no idea what was shared because you weren't there for that part of the conversation.
Yeah. Otherwise, he's just going to dry himself out and figure he got to get back
Shake off
somewhere.
everything. Okay.
I'm gonna pat Slain like on the back of the neck, kind of like, and we did good. I'm real proud of us, and kind of awkwardly like, yeah.
Slane hugs him. He's going to hug Gervain, like awkwardly.
Like that.
one-armed kind of. It's
Can
gonna
I
be
make a
okay.
Constitution saving throw?
I
Jermaine, are
see
you still
that.
Go ahead.
I see that you two are having a moment. Would you like to be brought up to speed to what happens when in the water?
Oh yeah.
Okay. The Lady Mercaine appeared. She told us that someone in the grove, or from the grove perhaps, has done the damage to the monolith you saw. It is apparently someone who is quite jealous of the fact that it was not them who were chosen for the position of High Priestess. And so, now we must go investigate. Or rather, once you two are finished with the arc, then we can go investigate.
Oh yeah, I think we're good, Gervain.
Based upon how she was described, she fits the description of 2 possible people back at the grove. And they are a mother and a daughter. And while I wish it was more of a surprise to hear, it is not so much considering how they were upset about the way things went with the newest election of the priestess.
Wow, that's. Oh, I guess we should go talk to them or see what they're up to. Maybe not talk to them. They might suspect something.
No, I think it is of utmost importance we do not let it be known that we have our suspicions as to who it could be.
Yeah.
If they find out we are aware of something, there's a very strong chance that they might try to either run away or take action. Neither are ideal.
No. I'm not a very good liar, so let somebody else take the lead on that one.
Noted.
Do these people have roles within the grove? Do they have responsibilities? Some things that they are expected to fulfill?
One is a maiden, and one is an elder. They both have
elder.
very influential roles.
I see. What would you say the response from the grove would be? If we were to make accusations against these people, I need to understand if we are going in with the element of secrecy or if we are doing this openly.
That is fair. For the most part, we get along as a people. We do our best to keep the peace amongst each other, but it's the nature of any village or town. There are families who just do not like each other. And they, very much, are not fans of my parents. Galopsis, she has always had a grudge against my mother. They both served as maidens, but she felt that she should have been the rightful priestess. And that my mother only got preference because she just so happened to be the wife of the chieftain when the election happened. And she has raised her daughter, Sarah, with a similar prejudice that my mother is only there because of luck of the draw. Not for her talents, not for her devotion, not for her abilities. And there are others in the grove who, it is not that they don't respect my father or my mother, but they have longer and stronger connections with Gail and Sarah's family. It might create some strife. We need to be sure that our accusations are correct. Somehow we need to figure out a way to get them to admit what they have done. That would be our better approach. I think accusing them would be our last resort, for we are then opening ourselves up to strife and division.
Is there a law within the grove, a tribunal, un système de cour? Can we place them, perhaps not on trial per se, but make a formal accusation against them without risking overthrowing the balance of the grove? Clearly, some action must be taken, but at the same time, you also live in a precariously unnatural balance, and it is already shifted. I would not want our actions to bring more destabilization to the grove.
There is a sort of trial that can be performed in which the individual be exiled from the grove. However, when that happens, the antlers of the accused and found guilty are removed, and they are hung in the longhouse as a reminder to those of what happens to the people who betray their grove. We have 3 of those antler sets, and that is it.
How long has it been since the last time?
Not during my time, not during my parents' time, not during their parents' time. I honestly do not know the exact time of when the last happened, but it is long enough ago where we are going to have to look back in the books and the scrolls.
Intéressant. But, voyons. I suppose it is time for us to set a new precedent for your time, huh? And then Maurice will get himself out of the water and onto the shore and do his best to try to dry himself off, but I know it's not going to go super well.
AOL, you'll see Faye kind of look towards you. How about you do the thing you were doing last night with Shrek, and I can do some of my own mending to help out Maurice. And you'll hear Shrek.
I can jump in too. I can help. I can totally help. I'll absolutely help.
So, Maurice,
The Shrek voice kills me every time. It's so good. It's so good.
So Maurice, if you're good with it, Aold and Shrek will help sort of dry your components and everything off to the best of their abilities, and then Faye will step in and use some mending to help keep the rust at bay. And she'll also pull out that bottle of oil that had been left on that table. To be sure, make sure you put this on. And, make sure that she's not going to help oil you up. She'll give you that, ability yourself. You can do that on your own. We're good. That's a
little too Moulin Rouge. I understand. That's fine.
A little bit.
Merci beaucoup. And then I'll take to it.
Okay. So as AOL and Shrek and Faye are helping out Maurice, Zira, Slain, and Gervain, what is it you would be doing by the riverside before you guys get back in the canoes to make yourselves, or get yourselves back up to your camp?
Yeah, what's the terrain like around here? Is it pretty flat, or there is a lot of hills?
You're kind of in that area where immediately around the riverside, it has sloped down into a valley because that's just the nature of the flow of the river. Off to the one side, it does start to pick up, and you start to get the foothills in the distance that lead up to the Black Hills, the mountain range. To the other side, it actually sort of levels itself out. Like there might be some, slight hills here and there, but nothing that is drastic landscape change. It's more forest than anything else to the other side. So if you're facing south, to your right would be the Black Hills, to your left would be the more plain type area.
Okay. I was trying to get a sense of, if there was a way to get a sense of how big whatever's underneath the monolith might be, if it was, on a promontory or something. It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, you really can't tell from that.
He's mostly just doing that, getting a sense of the surroundings, and just, if we gotta do some investigating, then... we should do it, I guess, quickly. That skeleton lady didn't seem so happy. He's ready to leave.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to look for. I think we just have to head back and question Calypsis and Rosera, and the sooner we get away from this place, the better. It seems like the fog here is pretty strong, and that spirit wasn't too happy with us being around here.
It's not. Let's see.
Zira, what about you? As you're hearing them discuss the wanting to get going.
I think I'm just listening in kind of to both conversations on either side, just kind of chilling.
Okay.
Like a non-villain.
All right.
I got a lead on some potential information about this place, what might have happened, but it's I gotta spend some time by myself, I guess, so nobody be too worried. But hopefully it'll give us some information that we can use.
You'll see Faye sort of like perk her head up a little bit and tilt her head along with her antlers going, well, is it nearby where you need to get this information? We could always go back to our original campsite and everyone can sort of rest and regroup for the rest of the day.
It's close, and I could, get there pretty quick, I think.
All right. I mean, it's going to be a journey back up because we won't have the current working with us. We are going to have to work against the current, so it's going to take us longer anyways, and we are going to want our strength. So better we make camp and we rest and we regroup, as long as that is all right with the rest of you.
Yeah. Sounds fine.
All right.
That seems like the best plan to me.
All right. Then perhaps we should get into our canoes and make our way back up to the campsite, and then you can go and do what you need to do.
Yeah. That sounds good. Sounds like a real
And you
plan.
sure you don't want any one of us to go with you?
No, I really do travel faster by myself, and it's family matter, so I don't want to involve anybody else.
I did not realize you had family in the area.
Just here and there,
All right, then.
I don't suppose this has something to do with your grandmother you mentioned so frequently?
I mean, Grandma's always got something to do with it, so yeah, it's, running errands and like.
All right, well, if it's for your grandmother's, then we can take we can take the evening and we'll start tomorrow and head our way back up to the Grove.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right, and she's going to make her way to one of the first canoes, and Zira, she's going to lift you up and put you in the canoe right behind her. Slane, why don't you take the other canoe?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I think this is the best separation for everybody.
And you'll see she kind of like
wink. Get in trouble because of your pranks.
Right, yeah, that's why.
Faye will lean over to you, Zira. Here's to hoping this time that you stay a little bit drier.
That's the hope, but I don't want to hurt Slane's feelings.
Of course not, but let's just say that I prefer to have you near me just because, in case you go overboard, I'm faster at grabbing.
Perfect.
All right, we'll spin it that way for him. And the rest of you, which of the canoes do you get in? You have Faye and Zira in the first canoe. You have Slane in the second canoe, about to shove off into the river to go upriver again. Gervain?
Yep, I'll be in the one with Slane's.
Okay, so Gervain and Slane in canoe 2. AOL, where would you be?
Probably with Maurice. It's going to take more than one person to handle that thing.
Okay, so Maurice, which one of the canoes would you go in? The one with Faye and Zira, or Slane and Gervain?
Purely for the sake of weight, he keeps going to the canoe that Slane is not in so that it doesn't sink, because 2 hulking figures in one boat is going to equal 1 not good time. So he'd be in there with Faye and Zira for sure.
Okay, and you see that Shrug sort of pops out of the papoose and he sits between Gervain and Slane.
All right, let's go. It's a party now.
And,
Yeah, let's do it.
The canoes, they will shove off the shoreline of the river, and it will take a little bit more strength and time to make your way back up to your campsite. But you do get back there in good time, luckily with no extreme effects or tipping or spilling or anything like that. And you pull the canoes up to the bank near your campsite. You still have what's left of those shrubs. But again, they haven't moved, they haven't shifted, they haven't changed. So you know that for sure those are absolutely dead and gone bushes. It's nothing to worry about anymore. And you can sort of, at this point, it's probably a little bit after lunchtime. Very
Zira
time.
Zira wants to look in her pack, and she does. She notices she has soggy pies from when Slane knocked the boat over. So, no pies for Zira.
soggy pies. Sounds like a sad song.
Very dis-
I have my soggy pies.
I'm my soggy pies.
And
Next up.
Gervain
Are
will-
those the burnt pies?
All right. So what does Gervain do?
Karma.
Oh, I had to dismiss Lil Zar when we got on the boats, and then resummon him when we got back to our campsite. Just as a
Fair enough.
side note.
Perfectly fine. And what about the rest of you? Ayla, what would you do once you get back onto the campsite area or into the campsite?
I'll probably start setting stuff up since we're gonna be there for the night.
Okay. Maurice, what about you?
Probably just making sure that or at least doing his best to make sure that the rust doesn't come back. Trying to, dry everything compulsively, use the oil. More than likely lay out his prayer mat and kind of sit himself down on it while doing his general maintenance on his lower legs, anything that was in the water.
Okay. Give me a quick perception check as you're tending to your rust.
It's going to be a 9.
Okay, so with your 9, from what you can tell, you seem to be keeping ahead of it at least. It doesn't look like the rust has progressed, so that's good. Okay, yeah. So Maurice, you're able to just kind of take care of the rust and everything like that. Faye, she would actually be sort of scoping out the perimeter of the camp just to make sure everything is safe. And then she'll set back to basically getting a late lunch together for everyone. And Slane, what would you be doing? Would you be sticking around the camp, or would you be heading off on your jaunt for your grandmother?
I think heading out pretty quickly. He can eat on the way, and is probably just going to make sure he's got all his supplies. And it's like, oh, should be back by tomorrow. If I'm not, you guys think of the grove, and remember me kindly. And he's gonna go make his trip.
That's just Zar.
Remember me
S'il te
well.
plaît, prenez soin de vous, mon ami.
Lovely. So you have this image of sort of the view pulling out, and it's getting a little bit higher. And you can see the campsite along the riverside, and everyone just sort of doing their thing as they get settled back in after their herring morning. And you see Slane disappearing into the tree line and tromping his way through the forest. And we will leave it there. You'll be stealthy. Do you still have Nonami with you, by the way? Nonami?
I would take Nonami with me. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
we have this image of Slane just, going through the forest, Noname sort of dancing its way back and forth from shoulder to shoulder, and sometimes going ahead, sometimes falling behind, but just zipping around Slane as the two of them wend their way into the forest in a very definitive direction. And we will pick up there next week, folks, for our 13th episode of The Last Heir. And for those of you who weren't here last week, or did we even announce it, The Last Heir is getting picked up for a second season. So there's going to be more fun. So, yay, happiness is. So join us again on Sunday evening at 8 p.m. next week, and we will see what happens with this lovely crew as Slane gets his little mission done, and they make their way back up to the grove. Do keep in mind, though, that the week after that, I'm doing my mathing right, the week after that, we are going to have the week off because I am going to be down in Charlotte for the Mace Convention. So we won't be having a Sunday evening show on the 10th is the date. But then we'll pick back up when I get back. So that is it for us this evening. Let's go around. Make sure you plug anything you want to share with the crew and with our lovely viewers. And let's start with, we'll go in reverse order, Maurice, as played by Jesse.
Cool. My name is Jesse. You can find me on the internet as @JesseNeon on Twitter, Punches and Dragons on Twitch, because I finally got my account back. Hooray! And the only thing that I am up to is that I made a book happen, and I'm currently settling on the cover art, and then it's going to go to print, so hooray, real book! My favorite part of the session, by far, has got to be the Shrek voice. Like, it kills me every time. It's so good. I can do a decent Slane, but I don't think I could do a Shrek to save my life, so like that was just fantastic.
I can honestly say the Shrek voice hurts the voice. Oh my god. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I feel the same way about the Slain. Like it's low in the throat. It's painful.
Oh, when you just gotta figure out what you're gonna do, and you gotta second guess all your decisions. And you go through the forest and grandma and the claws and it's bad. It's a bad time.
We're gonna have to have voice off at the end. All right, thank you so much, Jesse. Moving over to Kai.
Hey, I am Kai, Stonefly_Kai on Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter is where I'm most active, and you can see what I'm up to. Some of the things I'm up to on Wednesday nights, I play on Featherfall Tabletop. I am playing a gnome ranger over there named Dirkle Burgleberry. And then starting in January, I'm going to be doing a podcast with the Bad DM and Michael Kritz and some other folks. Ooh. And it's a Fae Forge Academy. You can find them on Twitter, and it's going to be like a magic school in the Feywild, so it's going to be very exciting. So go check them out on Twitter too. And that is all the things I'm up to.
I love all of it. That's fantastic. Sliding over to Jim, our wonderful son.
Yes. Hey. Having a great time. I think probably my favorite part of tonight is just like the mystery of what's going on here, because it's like it could be Vis Alsaid, or it could be like a shape-shifting fae or something else, and it's like there's druids and vampires. Anyway, it's just it gets more and more juicy the further we get into it. I'm digging it. So yes, come and check us out over on WebDM's YouTube channel, where my co-host and I talk all about D&D and tabletop RPGs. And I am also playing in a Pendragon game on Monday nights over on Eric Vulgaris' channel, where you start character creation with your great-great-grandfather and then work your way up to yourself. It's like a multi-generational Arthurian myth and legend kind of RPG. Really fun. So check that out if you're into something a little bit different. Yeah, that's all I've got. PAX U. We'll be at PAX U.
Yeah, I think I know what I'm going to be watching on Mondays, because that sounds really cool. And yes, PAX Unplugged, I'll get to that too. And bumping up, we move over to our lovely Torn Pixie playing AOL.
Hello, I'm Torn Pixie. You can find me at Torn Pixie Twitch on both Instagram and Twitter. And then Torn Pixie here on Twitch and on TikTok, where I've been doing some OC cosplay stuff. I am working on bringing my current characters that I play onto that. And with that, I've got like a few games here and there. You can find me on Variant Rolls Friday afternoons, and on my own channel every other Friday. And then Geeky Bugbear on some Saturdays, and on those off Saturdays, you can find me on my own with Acquisitions Inc. game. And then Sundays in the morning before I have this one, I have another game. It's easier just to watch my schedule on Twitter, honestly.
Busy. That's the acronym for busy. Fantastic. All right, now it's to you, Michael.
Yeah, so I'm Michael Sinclair II. I'm Michael Kritz on Twitter, Instagram, and now Twitch. That's happening today. So after the stream today, I'm going to be playing some Magic the Gathering Arena, probably doing some draft. I suck at it now because I haven't drafted in a while, so if you want to help me out, that'd be great. But it'll be on stream here after this stream in like 5 or 10 minutes. Michael Kritz. And then I'm starting improv classes here in Spokane at the Blue Door, so that's going to be awesome, starting every Tuesday. And also, I'm going to be part of Fae Forge Academy in January with Kai. So more, Michael Kai shenanigans that everyone kind of loves. So that'll be happening, and we're going to be in a Fae-based school. It's going to be great, and have a pretty interesting character already written up. So we'll see. I'll see you folks around, hopefully right after the stream.
I love it. Wonderful. All right. I am the Muse, your crafting muse. You can find me over my YouTube channel, where I show you how to paint miniatures and make terrain for your tabletop games. You can also find me here most Sundays as the DM for The Last Heir here at Kobold Press's channel. On Thursdays, you can find me over on Mini Train Domain playing in the Dawnbringers as Cantriel, their feisty bard. And don't forget, we still have going on for Kobold Press the Deep Magic Kickstarter. This is if you want to get access to 600 spells and some very incredible, wonderful things that have already been unlocked. Do be sure to get over there and check it out. I'm going to pop the link into the chat one more time for you to make it easy access. But please do be sure to get over there. There are only a few days left, so don't waste time and hold out much longer because it's going to be gone before you know it. Once again,
Only
thank you so much.
$1,200 away from the next stretch goal.
I'm telling you, people, let's go, let's go, let's go. So thank you again so much for spending your Sunday evening or afternoons or wherever you happen to be with us. We always enjoy seeing you in the chat, interacting with you. Find us all on our socials. And for now, take care, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Farewell.
Bye.